In the city, you must fight to survive, especially when you have a shady woman running your boutique and your fan club. Sorry, that's bad taste, but
No, that was amazing.
how big was Selena? I don't know. This movie's very unclear about that, but that's right. I just said it for the very first time ever. I watched Selena. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Tinted Classics, the show where I, your host, Jake Ryan Baker, watch classic movies for the very first time and give my nostalgia-free opinions on them. And today is a very, 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 triple very special episode because not only do we have a brand new first-time guest, welcome to the show, Jamel King.
Thank you for having me.
I didn't ask how you wanted to be introduced, but hopefully that's fine.
That's perfect.
That's what I know you professionally as, so I assume that's what you go by.
Absolutely.
We're covering a movie that's classic.
Yeah.
It's funny. Sometimes I think of these musical biopics as like older, and then I was like, wait, this is like the 90s.
Well, we're getting around that, we're starting to get to that age.
It's true. But I have to be conscientious about my body language today because we're doing video.
Oh, you're fine.
You would think I would have dressed up more, but hey, what are you going to do?
It's your daily uniform.
This is just what I wear.
Yeah. Stick with what you know.
Yeah, one of the benefits of doing a pretty much audio-only podcast is I can just look like a bag of trash all the time, and it's fine. You're just hearing my voice. But yeah.
You look great.
So, thank you. We're matching a little bit,
We
I think.
are.
But yeah. So this is exciting. You're in from LA
Yes.
for an indeterminate amount of time. Don't worry about it. Don't stalk him.
I'll be here for like a good week or so.
Yeah, you're here where our air quality is the worst it's ever been.
The worst it's ever been. I picked one hell of a time to come. It's crazy. If for those who don't know, the wildfires from Canada have made its way down to the States and so far down to India. But I think even my cousin in Atlanta was she in Virginia? Those are two vastly different places.
It's the South.
Yes, it's the South. But it's made its way all the way down there, and the air quality is awful. And I have had, my Lord, I have asthma. And this is the first time like I've felt it in a very long time.
Oh, great!
So
cool.
Good Lord.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very funny. This happens sometimes on this show, the serendipity of how you meet people.
Yeah.
I think is a weird running theme on this show because I have friends that I've had on the show who didn't know me that well and we've become friends. Like a guy I routinely work with now, Tony Walters, professionally, Anthony David, pick a lane, Tony. But I had him on my show because he was promoting a movie he was making.
Nice.
And now we're really, really good friends. And he like shot part of my feature. And
That's so cool.
Our origin story is weird in the sense that there's a guy who I met at a film festival here in Fort Wayne who lives in LA and for some reason gave you my name.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It was literally the biggest blessing. So at the time that I moved here, I was filming a TV show in Los Angeles. And so I was going back and forth between Fort Wayne and Los Angeles. And by the time the show had ended, at least the filming of the show had ended, I was like, I can't be in a place where I'm not creative. Like I felt so creatively stifled. And I was like, I'm just going to write a short film and try to make it. And I didn't know anybody filmmaking wise in Fort Wayne. This was literally my first time in Indiana. My friend at the time was like, well, just go and see who the filmmakers are here. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I looked around at, what is your guys' film festival? The Heartland?
Ours is Hobnobbin.
I looked on their Instagram page and was like, okay, well, who are the filmmakers that are at least in the area that I could connect with? And there was one guy named Who's Your Daddy? And of course, I had to. Pat
Batinsky.
Yes, I had to hit him up because, of course,
he's been on the show once before.
Oh, that's cool.
We did The Cooler. I need to have him back. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I've never met him in person. I can't wait to meet him. But he was like, yeah, you have to meet this dude named Jake, and like he sung your praises, and rightfully so. Like Jake has been one of the kindest, one of the most resourceful. It was within that week you were filming a scene for your one of your movies, which is where I met Dan and them.
Yeah.
You were like, come to set, and I was like, I don't like to inconvenience or like be in the way, so I was like, are you sure? And like I came and met
you were there for that.
Yeah, it was so random.
We were shooting a test scene for the feature I would eventually shoot.
Yeah.
I forgot that you were there.
Yeah.
How strange.
Yeah, just kind of just there, lurking in the shadows, like, hey guys. But it was really cool. That's where I met Dan, the dude who DP Dan Catter. Shout out Dan. He's incredible.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's kind of how we
it's not very creative, but Dan the man.
Dan the man. I mean, what more do you need?
But yeah, you were wanting to make a short film and you ended up tapping Dan, and I think your film is really where I got to know Ethan a lot better too, which was nice because Ethan's a really good dude.
Yeah.
And then, you know, me and Daisy were already mutual friends. I feel like you and Daisy have become pretty close. Yes. And so,
I love Daisy.
I mean, she's the best. She just wrapped her own feature.
Yes. I can't wait to talk to her about it.
Yeah, I need to. She's been on, I think like 3 years ago, she was supposed to come back on the podcast and we just never made it happen. She's a very busy person.
She is. Life happens. She has all her cats.
I know. It's crazy to me.
Her art.
She was always the married couple with no pets or no kids. Yeah. And then all of a sudden she became a cat mom. Yeah. And I was like, whoa.
They're a lot of work.
What a change.
Fair.
But no, I mean, literally there was I would say 50% of the times we meet up lately has been at the cat cafe. So I think it was inevitable.
Cannot do a cat cafe. I love cats. I'm just allergic.
It sucks. I know so many people are allergic. Like my best friend, her son is allergic to cats, and I'm just like, damn.
It's bad because they're so cute. And my friend Lee, I'm always doing a self tape with him, and I love going over there for that reason. But he has 2 cats that, of course, if they know that you're allergic, all they do is walk on you. So like I'll be sitting on the couch and
they're sadistic like that.
They are. But and I think I'm gonna invest in gloves. They have to have cat gloves that you can like just wear to pet.
Oh, that's funny.
Like dispose of.
Yeah, I just get nervous because I'm like, I know we have, God, I think we're up to 8 now in our house. Because my dad, I live with my parents, and my dad is a bleeding heart, and he just keeps rescuing cats. Yeah. And cats live for a while. Yeah. So every cat we rescue, we've still got all the other cats we've rescued. And so I just know I'm like covered in cat hair 24/7. I'm sure you're going to be dead after this episode.
Maybe, but that's all right. Well worth it.
But yeah, no, it's just really weird happenstance type stuff. You just never know how you're going to meet people, and I guess I'm just happy. Like that's part of what's nice about the filmmaking world, though, is I feel like there's a commonality where it's just like, oh, you're in film, I'm in film, cool, let's be friends. Totally. Or whatever. And you know, I'm Facebook friends with tons of people who I've either briefly brushed elbows with, or there's a guy in Ohio named Johnny Catalano who I've had on the show 4 or 5 times now. Still have not met him in person.
Oh, fun.
So like it's just a strange world. I have online friends. I play D&D every week with people I've technically never met in real life. And that I was just explaining to that group recently where I was like, you know, the only reason I know you guys is because of the game Among Us. And they were like, what? I was like, so way back in the day, a friend of mine was playing Among Us with a streamer and they needed people and he knew I was cool. So he asked if I wanted to play, met the streamer wanted to get into D&D. We were friends at that point. So I joined the game too. And then some of the people that were in that game were like, well, why don't you come to some of our other D&D games? And so then I got heavily involved in this whole pre-established D&D community. And it was all because I happened to play Among Us one time. Like
that's really cool though.
The person. So you just don't know. That's why I really do need to network more and go to more festivals and stuff.
Yes.
Because I mean, the reason that I know you is because I ran it because Pat came to Hobnobbin. I shook hands with him. We chatted, and I was like, and I could tell he was a nice guy. I think he could tell I was maybe good at keeping my psychopathy under wraps. And so we became friends.
That's hilarious. But no, that definitely speaks to you and who you are as a person. You know, like from the moment I met you, like you've always been super kind. You've always been super helpful. You've always been super humble, gracious.
I just have never really understood being mean or like rude to people. Oh, well. Like, don't get me wrong, I can get snippy and I can ask my parents, they'd probably think I'm an asshole. But I get snippy with them, but just in like, even just in filmmaking, I'm sure, and I'm sure you have a million more experiences like this than I do, but I just like sometimes I would work with actors and they would just be like, wow, that was really nice. And I was like, what was nice? And they'd be like, oh no, it was just like really pleasant. I was like, bare minimum courtesy was pleasant, and they're like, well, kind of, yeah. And I'd be like, what sets are you on?
I mean, just you'd be surprised. I mean, it's one of those things where like filmmaking is already stressful, and you have a bunch of moving parts, a bunch of different departments, and not everybody knows each other per se, and you're on set for such a short amount of time, but a long amount of time, but everybody's trying to do their job and do their best at their job, and so a lot of egos come into play, and then you just have the actors. And I am an actor, so I can say it, but actors are insane. And then, you know, then there's also like the producer of it, and you don't know who's having what type of day at any given point of the day. So there's a lot to navigate. So when you do have pleasant people on set, it's just like, oh, yes, this is nice. And yes, you're my people. I'm going to latch on to you because it's wild.
I do feel like I've been pretty lucky in that some of the like SAG people and stuff I've brushed elbows with over the years, generally I've found them to be very pleasant.
Yeah.
And I like to think that unless you're like a mega star, I feel like most of the people that work a lot are probably the people, like part of being in film is you have to have the skill to be able to be around, be someone who doesn't suck to be around.
Yeah.
And so some of the nicest people I've met are like Felissa Rose. I picked her up from the airport and I was like, oh, you're just like a really nice person.
Yeah.
And that's nice. But then I just do hear horror stories. And one of the guys I played D&D with was he works in the business a lot. And he was a stand-in on some of the biggest movies you've ever heard of. And he's like met a lot of people and he'll just be, oh yeah, that guy's an asshole. And I'll just be like, damn, that sucks. I liked him.
Fair. Fair.
But I'm kind of curious because I don't know if we've ever talked like origin story in terms of like, so you are an actor and you're I would say pretty successful actor. Certainly, like it's funny because when you think of like, I feel like the general public has a tendency to, when they think of actors, they're just truly thinking of like Tom Cruise, like that level.
Yeah.
But in terms of like working successful actors, like that's still an incredibly niche group to be in.
Yeah.
And it's really impressive to get to that level. But I'm curious, like, when did that journey start for you?
Let's see. Well, like I always had the idea, and I honestly, this is.
I mean, are we talking like as a kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I picked the movie that we're gonna
okay. Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
That is one of the first movies.
So your father was like, "You will act, Jamel."
Absolutely. Joe Jackson all over again.
I don't hear monologues.
Right. Yeah, you're not practicing enough with the whip. No, he. Good Lord. No, if Selena was one of the first movies that made me aware of like what movies can do for people. It made me feel something. And I was like, whatever that is, I want to do that.
Sure.
I knew nothing about like what the profession was, like what the steps were. And none of my family were really a part of filmmaking at all. Like my family worked for like the legislature. Like I had a nurse in the family. We had all these different, like, I don't know what you call them, the types of jobs that aren't creative. A couple creative people in my family, but nothing career-wise.
Sure.
But I was like, I've always kind of been the black sheep of my family. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And then another interesting piece of that is like, it's the first time where I actually saw an entertainer do multiple things. Because like at the time it was, you were just an actor, you were just a singer, you were just this or that. And Jennifer Lopez was one of the first people that registered to me as a kid to be a brand.
Sure.
So like, you saw her in a movie, then you saw her do an album, then you saw her in another movie, then she did her clothing line. And it's like, that was super impressive to me. So before like branding was a thing, like it was always a thing. But like before it was actually like before social media and like you knew what that was. That was super appealing to me, and I've always wanted to do that. So I set a whole plan. I wrote in my journal, this is what I'm going to do. These are the steps I'm going to take. Of course, my family wanted me to go to college and get the degree. So I went to college, got the degree, got my degree in communication.
Yes, communication,
which is super
the degree
broad.
For people who don't know what they want to do.
Exactly, whatever that means.
I say that as a double communication major.
Absolutely. But I also thought it was going to be helpful in terms of like understanding humans, because there were a lot of sociology.
I love the classes that I took, like nothing but media classes in college, and there wasn't a major filmmaking branch, but you could like minor in it. And so I took screenwriting in college, and that's how I even got into filmmaking in the first place. But
and you're a great screenwriter, by the way.
thank you. That's very nice to say. But it's only because like I took it really seriously. Like when I first got into filmmaking, I literally just wanted to be a screenwriter, and then it just became a thing where I was like, well, no one's gonna make this. So you have to make it.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So it just became a thing where it was like, oh, I write. And then once I had actually directed a little bit, I was like, oh, I do like directing too. So I write and direct, and that's just how it goes. But I'm kind of curious, like, but no, I agree with you in terms of like the classes themselves are very helpful for the skills that you want to develop. But I would be hard pressed to say I've ever used my degrees. Like my degrees were not the factor at me getting a job at the library.
Sure, yeah.
Like they were just like, oh, you know how cameras work and you can edit? Like, and I was like, well, I did technically learn that in college. You know, I guess it's helpful. But like I have 2 bachelor's degrees, and they might as well just be papers that cost $5,000 or whatever. Yeah. And I got off easy, like in terms of some people, like, because I was able to I had like grants for a while because I did good in my crappy high school. And then eventually that money ran out, and they're like, okay, but I definitely don't have it nearly as bad as some people that paid for the entire deal.
Because you were like $5,000. It's like, where?
Well, I was dividing the 10,000 in half for each degree.
That's fair. Even 10,000 is like
no, it truly is like, and I even fumbled a little bit because I had like a Pell Grant because I was poor, but then I had like a Dean's Grant because I did well in school, and then I hated my psychology class in my first year, and I got like a C, and they're like, no more Dean's Grant for you, bitch. And I was like, ah, damn, could have used that money. But yeah, I don't know. It's but so is it not like a theater origin for you? It's been like wanting to be on camera the whole way, or
theater was my minor.
Okay.
So I did train there, and then I trained in New York City a little bit.
Okay.
And then while I was going to college, I would almost every weekend or every other week, I would go down to New York City and start modeling because I have Gina Davis. A League of Their Own is one of my favorite movies, and I was always fascinated with Gina Davis and like her trajectory, and she started modeling because she's like, oh, that might be a cool gateway in, and I was like, cool, I'm going to do whatever she did.
So she's one of the most gorgeous people to ever walk the face of the earth.
Beautiful inside and out. She honestly, like, she's just one of the most beautiful.
No, that's a really great point. She's always been like, if you read up on her, she's like been like a women's advocate since the jump, and she's got a lot of really great foundations and stuff.
Her current foundation, like I'm in contact with them quite a bit because their thing is representation in film and media, called the Gina Davis Foundation, and that's their thing. They work with studios and departments to make sure that there's a even level of representation. It started with, females and females of a certain age, making sure like young women are represented doing like science stuff, doing things that, only boys typically do. But now they work amongst a bunch of different demographics. But yeah, minored in theater, and then worked for a year before moving out to LA, and then got in a play. And it was kind of serendipitous how all that happened. I lived a block away from a theater. I didn't even know it was there. I would do work at a Starbucks every day, which was 2 blocks away. So I would pass the theater, get to the Starbucks, and I would always carry my headshot and resume on me because, of course, that's what you do, right? And I met a director who was like, hey, we're having auditions for this one role that I think you'd be perfect for. Do you have a headshot and resume? I was like, matter of fact, I do. Right? Yeah. So I gave it to him. He was like, well, come at 3 today. So I went at 3 that day, got it, but went on as an understudy. That first weekend, the person who was supposed to play the role didn't show up, and I went on. And
very mysterious, Jamel.
I know. How did I finagle that?
They had an unfortunate accident.
Who knows what happened? Legend has it he's still not doing well.
You just straight showgirls did.
Yeah. So then there was like, they would have industry nights, so they would have agents and managers come, and the first agency night I got a manager who introduced me to my agent, and then I got the movie Area 51 back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first movie, one of the first movies, because I think I did a movie with Tiny Lister, who was Debo in the Friday movies.
Sure, yeah.
My dad. I think that was my first movie in LA, and then Area 51, and then off to the races, but still continued modeling. And I wasn't a huge fan of modeling.
Oh, really?
Not in LA, because just my experience. Don't kill me. It's just in New York, when I modeled, I was modeling clothes. There was fashions. In LA, it's very like shirtless, swimwear. There's a little bit of fashion, but it's either like everyday fashion in New York / like, you know, editorial avant-garde stuff, and then there's like costumey stuff in LA. And that just didn't resonate with me as well. And, you know, modeling work doesn't pay well.
I've been always curious about that world because I'm a photographer on the side.
Sure.
And I think one of my biggest fascinations is like actor photo shoots, kind of like I'm always looking at like, oh, Zendaya she's on the cover of this magazine.
Yeah.
And I genuinely am always like, I just wonder, I would love to be a fly on the wall of those shoots. Because like I know there's a lot of moving pieces and they've got assistants and stuff, because I'm usually just free. I'm just by myself.
Yeah.
Even little things like changing a backdrop is a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like the best I can usually do is like you get one backdrop, and if you want to run to the bathroom and do a wardrobe swap, then cool.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, because I'm also in filmmaking, a lot of people I shoot with are actors. And, you know, sometimes people come to me for like headshots and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's probably better to have multiple looks, but I'm just like, I don't really do it professionally. You know, like I did a shoot recently that I'm pretty proud of, but I had to really cobble some shit together. Like I was borrowing 2 flashes from a friend, a flash from another friend, and his backdrop and his light. Like it was just like half of the shoot was just stuff that's not even mine. But the shoot turned out good because I'm like, I know what I need to do to make a thing look good. I just don't have the equipment because I'm constantly broke.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens a lot more than you think. I mean, there have been many shoots that I've gone on that like I did ads that I didn't know were going to be ads that were as chaotic as you're describing, and we just ended up with the cover of a magazine. And it's like, oh, okay, well, there we are. So I feel like I think anything creative is kind of like that. Like everything feels chaotic, but then you see the finished product and you're like, I guess we do know what we're doing.
Yeah. I do really like, you know, I love looking at, cause like I like shooting people the most. And so I like watching.
Which you're also really good at.
That's nice of you to say. But I just like seeing like the magazine spreads. Cause like they just like, sometimes they just do some really out there stuff. There was one that, some of the photos that were coming out when the drama was about to come out was Zendaya and like Robert Pattinson. They were doing some wild photo shoots. Like Robert Pattinson was in like full drag and lipstick and stuff. And I was like, this is wild.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always just really interested in like who the photographers are and like what the vision was and stuff. And I don't know, it's just interesting to me. But I'm sure it's hard to like be on the other end of that when you're just like the product and you're just being sort of like, and also I'm as a model and an actor, there's probably so many times when someone's telling you to do something and you're like, I know I look so stupid right now, and you just have to kind of trust that they're not going to make you look stupid. And that's not always going to be the case.
And I think you're touching on an interesting point. Like actors and models sometimes feel like just pawns in, you know, the bigger scheme of things. And I think that's where I'm enjoying where I am now in my career, because I have a lot more say in the things that I do. Before, I was just happy to do anything.
Sure.
Like you don't want to ruffle feathers, or you don't want to seem difficult.
I remember there's a story you told me where they were like, okay, we're just going to do a quick run through. And then you did kind of a walkthrough of a scene, and like, oh, we actually rolled on that. We're good. And you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It was really fast. Was not expecting it. I was warned all the way up until we got there. Like, do you know your lines, right? And I'm like, yes, I know my lines. Like I knew them the day that I got them. And luckily, because it was like, you know, we did the blocking, and for the non-filmmakers, it's just, you know, the camera is set to where the action is. So we did our blocking, and they were like, all right, let's walk through it. So we walked through it, and they rolled, and they were like, I think we got it actually. And I was like, what? You got it? And I mean, it's not like we were, you know, doing House of the Dragon or anything like that. Like, it was a fairly basic scene, but it was just like, okay, well, like you just always have to be prepared because you just never know.
That's so tough. Like, but it is funny, like what you can do with like filmmaking too. I was just listening to a podcast where Vic Michaelis was talking about, they were on a Hallmark movie, and they were like, yeah, I don't know. They're like, one of the actors in the movie, she's like in tons of these movies and she doesn't even bother learning her lines. And so she's like sitting at the dinner table and there's literally a scriptie sitting under the table. Like every line would just go, "That's a nice story, Deb." And then the actor would be like, "That's a nice story, Deb." And then she's like, you watch the movie and she's the best part of the movie.
Wow.
You're just like, it's really funny because a lot of people, I think that these actors are always just doing these like amazing monologues off the rip or whatever, and
a lot are.
It just depends on like what the material is, because I got into a lengthy discussion with a new friend of the show, Carolyn, courtesy of Daisy's movie. I met her, and we were talking a lot about Brando, because like late in Brando's career, he couldn't be fucked to memorize anything or even care about what the director wanted from him.
Fair.
And I was joking about how, like, because he's Superman's dad in the Superman movies.
Okay.
And he's like, "Kal-El, my son, you're from Krypton." And I was like, this motherfucker can't even say Krypton, and yet he's still so compelling.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's so strange about art and acting. And I think like we're probably not transitioning into Selena just yet, but to sort of bring the Venn diagram of Selena into it, it's like sometimes people just have it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just so fucking talented or so charismatic or so. That's one of the things is like, I do believe you can work at things. Like you can become a better writer, you can become a better actor, you can become a better singer, you certainly can become a better dancer.
Yeah.
But there's also like it factors at play that are very strange. And you know, one of the reasons I love doing older movies for this show, one of the pleasures of doing old movies is I feel like back in the day, it used to be just like, if the camera just liked you or you were interesting to watch, you could be an actor.
Yeah.
And I feel like the modern landscape is so strange now, where you talked about like the branding, and it's like actors almost have to become their own brands now. It's like swung fully the other way, where it's like you have to have like an online persona or be famous. And I also just think that there's also a real pressure on actors to look a certain way. Like we're not letting people age anymore. And I'm just like, man, you know, Harry Dean Stanton used to be a leading man. Just like, and nowadays it's like, you know, I don't know. It's a very strange landscape. And that's one of the things I like about indie filmmaking. Like, I can't remember what movie we were doing, but someone or it was actually this season of Love Island. My friend Jancy was talking about how, she's like, not everybody has crazy perfect teeth this season, and I'm really happy about that.
And I think that goes back to like kind of what you were saying. We've gone so far in the other direction that like people just crave authenticity now. Like it's not about the perfect like movie star, because I was talking to friends about this just the other day, that like this generation doesn't have many movie stars like we used to. Like we could name a bunch. Now it's like you really kind of have to think about it, and even then it's like a lot of people are doing both film and TV, whatever that means now, because there's streaming. So like, it's like, there's so much you consider with all of that, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. You're just, it's a very interesting time to be in your industry.
It is, which is why I've pivoted a little bit, not as much, but I've pivoted to like, writing and directing and producing. So.
Yeah, and I think you're a very good writer as well. Like that was always, there's always a butthole clench moment when you make a new friend, and they're like, "Hey, can I send you something I'm working on?" Oh yeah, and you're like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And you're
totally.
like, "What am I gonna get?" And like, this is just gonna be the sloppiest shit I've ever read. And I just have to kind of grin and go, "Yeah, it's great." But I feel like when I read a different kind of war. That's it. Okay, I thought I botched it for a second. Memory, I was like, oh shit, this is well written.
Oh,
thank God.
Thank you. Yeah, that was one of my first short films that I had ever written, and I'm proud of it. Of course, like I don't like saying the word perfectionist because I feel like that means something different. But I have a high standard for myself.
Sure.
and there was a lot of things that I wish I had done differently. But again, it's a short film. It's one of my first. Like,
it's also like it's a weird tightrope to walk because I'm in a very similar boat to you, and I've chosen to believe that even though it can sometimes be a negative thing, I also think it's a positive thing to always strive for perfection.
Sure, yeah.
Because I do think that if you stop trying to get better, then what the fuck are you even doing at this point? But it's hurtful sometimes to just always be down on everything you do because you're just like that could have been better and that could have been better and that could have been better. It's like it's not a great headspace to be in 24/7, but I don't think I would prefer it a different way because I do always want to just be like, okay, that could be better. What can I do better next time?
Yeah.
But
it's like
hopefully you can find some kind of like solace and like feeling good about some of the things of it.
Yeah.
Like every film I've ever made, I've been like, there's a million things and I'm like, if only.
Yeah.
I have 2 short films that I shot years ago that are still in post purgatory because I'm so unhappy with how certain aspects of them turned out.
Yeah.
Just for various things where it's like, one of them I ended up having to shoot myself because my DP dropped out last second. I just think it looks like shit. And like everyone else the actors did a great job in it. And it's literally just a sketch. There's no reason why it shouldn't have been out like 2 years ago. But every time I look at it, I'm like, it looks like shit. It's not up to my standard of quality these days. But I'm just like, I owe it to the people involved in the project to finish it. And so I will. Sure. And then I have another one that ironically Daisy shot. And there's just things about it that I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? It's so weird and esoteric. I'm just like, no one's going to understand it. And I'm like, what was I thinking? But it's like, I still want to finish it someday, but I'm also in post on a feature. So I'm in a weird space right now. But hey, what are you going to do?
Get it done.
It's also, you just got to learn and keep moving and doing stuff.
And that's the name of the game. And that's the thing, we're creative, so we have multiple ideas. Like that's just one of many. So just get it done, push it out, and don't put too much stock on it. Like
it's tough.
Let it be what it is.
I was talking to Tony, who I mentioned earlier. It's like back in the day, I used to just crank short films out. And I think that at the time I was just so into making the stuff. And now I've slid into an area of my life where I have a certain level of quality that I'm striving for, but it's also completely jammed up the wheels in terms of me just making shit.
Sure.
And he was talking about, he's like, I really just want to go back to the old days and just like, shoot a sketch every week, or it doesn't have to be that serious, and I'm just like, yeah. And also just like keeping the rust off and stuff. Like, I'm like, if it's getting to the point where I can't make anything without a budget or without pulling like 17 people together to make it, it's like, well, then where's the joy anymore? But it's also, but some of the joy for me is like the high level of quality. And so I don't know, it's really tough. Like a friend of the show, Carolyn and Sammy, who were on Daisy's movie, they played a married couple in the movie, and they want to they're like, actually we have good chemistry, we should make more stuff together. And so like I thought of a sketch recently, but I'm in this weird no man's land where I'm like, it's a dumb little sketch, we should just like get together and make it. But I'm like, oh, but then we could do this and we could do this, and then it starts to get like ambitious, and then I'm like, well, fuck, well, what even is this project anymore? So I don't know, it's a strange place to be.
It is, but I also think in the land of TikTok and Instagram Reels and all of that, like that's the type of content people are creating, and a lot of people don't like that when things are super overproduced.
Sure.
So there is merit in that, especially if it's just a sketch. Just do it with your phone,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then the stuff that like means more to you, then you film those how you want them. But otherwise, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, especially the sketches. It's not that serious.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't have to be.
I don't know.
It's probably even better if not.
Are you still dabbling in theater, or is it mostly film these days?
I did just do a play last year during the Fringe Festival. I played the Fairy King / boyfriend. I played 2 characters, and it was a lot of fun. So dabbling, yes. I would do more theater for sure. I really want to be in Hamilton. Like that's one of the ones that I like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream role?
I would want to do Burr. I would want to do
Burr.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'd enjoy that a lot. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun.
Just hating on Hamilton.
Absolutely. Of course. Of course.
Yeah, I've been really back and forth with Hamilton. Like when it first came out, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
And then it was almost like so oversaturated that I was like, you know what, Hamilton's overrated. But then every time I hear it in the songs, I'm like, oh, I fucking love these songs.
Yeah.
I've also been infamously kind of hard on Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Why?
Just in terms of like, I think he's so incredibly talented, but I also like this is terrible. But like, I don't think he's a tremendously great actor. And like he started like showing up and stuff, and I was like, he's not a good actor though. But it's just because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, we're like putting him and stuff.
Sure.
I still haven't watched the Golden Compass TV show because they cast him in like a really important role, and I was like, he's Lin-Manuel Miranda for that. It's like Sam Elliott played that role in the movie. Like, what is this fucking like casting? It's so strange. Like the guy's supposed to be this like wild cowboy dude, and I was like, and you went Lin-Manuel. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot you. But I just was like, I also think like it's like, yeah, dude, he like wrote one of the most incredible musicals of all time.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to fill the cast out with some of the most incredible singers of all time.
Yeah.
But then cast himself as the lead. And like, I don't think it's anytime I hear a Hamilton song where someone's playing Hamilton that can sing, I'm like, this almost sounds wrong. Because I'm like, Lin-Manuel Miranda's like singing voice is not bad, but it's not incredible either. Sure. It's like everybody else in that show is like a 10 out of 10 singer. And he's like, in the eye of a hurricane, there is quiet for just a moment. And you're like, okay, dude. And then that being said, I fucking love Moana, and his song in Moana is awesome. You know, and so I go back and forth on him a lot. But it's just so funny, and like listening to that soundtrack is hilarious because every Schuyler sister is just like insane. Then obviously Burr is amazing, and then Daveed Diggs is just the best. Like the dual role. I mean, I think that's the funnest one. Like
see that for sure.
Getting to be Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson.
Totally. And he has some fun songs.
Yes. But yeah, no, Burr is obviously. Why am I blanking on the guy who played
Leslie Odom Jr.?
Yeah, Leslie Odom Jr. I mean, he reprised it recently, and people were talking about how he was playing it a lot different, which is really interesting. There was like a much more like mature devastation that he was like bringing to the role, as opposed to, I was like, man, what a interesting thing to do, because sometimes I forget that like you can just do plays a different way. Every show can be different. I'm a massive fan of a theater troupe called Star Kid. They got their start at like in college in Michigan. They were putting on plays. The most famous person to come from their group is Darren Criss. Who kind of left and became Darren Criss eventually. But he like, they got famous because they did a Harry Potter musical parody. And Darren Criss was Harry Potter, of course. But a lot of them have stayed together, and they kind of had kind of a breakout where, I mean, the Potter musicals were popular, and then they did a parody called Twisted, which was kind of a riff on Wicked, where they made Jafar from Aladdin like the main character, and that's a really good show because Dylan Saunders plays Jafar, and he's like one of the best like people they have in their troupe. He's such a fucking good actor and such a good singer. But then they started branching out into like more original material, and they have a musical called The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, and it's really good. And they just reprised it recently, and almost everybody came back and played the same role. But it's like so different, and it's been really interesting watching like the choices that they're making, like in this like more modern riff of it and stuff. And yeah, plays are, I've definitely wanted to like dip a toe in the theater world. Like I would love to write and direct a play someday.
Ooh, you should.
A lot of the actors I work with here in town are all theater actors, because like the Fort Wayne theater scene's actually like surprisingly robust. So if you get into filmmaking and you need actors, you're pretty much gonna be working with theater people eventually. It's just about finding the theater people that can kind of transition to
well, that's where you want them. That's where you want them from. Like some of the best actors come from theater. There is this level of mutability and on the fly thinking and ability to work well with others that some screen people just don't have. So I genuinely believe like theater actors are some of the best, also because we're just trained differently. A lot of famous actors, it's like they go and do theater and stuff, and
I always blank on his name. The hot priest from Fleabag.
The hot priest from Fleabag.
Andrew. I always forget his fucking name. But he's pretty well renowned for his theater chops. And I can't recommend enough, like looking up him doing Shakespeare, because he delivers Shakespeare in a way that's really unique. And a lot of people have sort of used him as a touchstone for like, oh, it's like hearing him do Shakespeare was the first time I understood Shakespeare.
Nice.
Because like he has like, it's really easy to find. Like he has a riff of like him doing Hamlet, or where he's just like, instead of quite doing the tempo that you're used to, he's like, I'm facetious, I'm selfish, I'm this, and like the way he's like doing it, it's like not the way you're used to. Be like, oh, that's what he's saying or whatever. And he like is ranting, and then he just stops and goes, "Where's your father? Get thee to a nunnery." And like you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like it's so good. He's such a tremendous actor. He's actually, I was just joking with friend of the show Rob that I recorded with this week. I was making fun of the movie that's coming out where it's a movie about the guy who predicted the weather on D-Day.
Oh, okay.
He's the lead of that movie.
Okay.
I was like, we're so out of ideas. We're like, what about the guy who had to study the weather for D-Day?
That's hilarious.
That's where we're at when we're in our movie landscape. But what are you going to do? I'm kind of curious in terms of like taste in films. I would never really try to pin somebody down and say like, what's your favorite movie? Because like I think that can change on a whim. And there's just these days I'm more about like, oh, I have certain like actors and filmmakers who I follow pretty religiously, but I'm also just open to any movie being good. Like I'm really champing at the bit to see The Invite because I heard it was good.
Oh yeah.
I'm seeing The Odyssey tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Time stamping this recording a little bit, but.
Yeah, we were actually thinking about seeing either that one or The Odyssey or Obsession.
Yeah, I did see Obsession.
Did you?
Well, I've actually, speaking of like making sketches for TikTok and stuff, like I've been following those guys for years.
Oh, okay.
They have a sketch group called That's a Bad Idea. Oh. And I've been following them on TikTok 4 years.
Okay. And
then when Obsession started getting momentum, I was like, that's the weird dude from the sketches I like. I was like, he's the director. I was like, oh, that's fun. Oh, nice. And so I was like front row center like the first week it was out. Nice. I thought it was great. Oh, okay. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's popular.
It's definitely like I'm of two minds about it. A, I'm really, really happy that it's doing well, and I'm so happy for their success.
Yeah.
B, I guess I'm of 3 minds about it. B, I'm just happy that the movie's good, and I think it's good. Yeah. But C, it's already having this weird little impact on my side of the indie film world, where I'm already seeing people be like, and I'm going to make the next Obsession or whatever. And I'm like, that's cool. But I'm also just like, I'm so tired of trend chasing.
Sure.
Because I'm like, Curry Barker didn't make Obsession thinking I'm going to make the next this.
Yeah.
He just made Obsession.
Yeah.
Like every good movie, almost, not always, but almost, is just like someone made their thing.
Yep.
The next popular thing is not riffing on the last popular thing almost ever.
Yeah.
Something always, it reminds me of like, I was thinking about it because of like video games recently. Mm-hmm. There's always like a video game out that like goes viral and a bunch of streamers play it. And it's like a little indie game that suddenly gets Among Us. I mentioned in this episode. Recently there's a game called Mecha Chameleon where it's like a hide and seek game where you can paint yourself to look like part of the environment.
Oh, fun. I'm
like, there are elements of like the friend slop, like hunt each other genre, but it's still a unique idea. Like they didn't copy Among Us because there's so many like Among Us clones now.
Okay.
None of those took off. Like Mecha Chameleon took off because it was a unique idea. Yeah. And with Obsession, it's like, because it's always like, I always think about, the biggest thing I always think about is when Get Out came out. Mm-hmm. It felt like Hollywood learned the wrong lessons from that, like across the board. It was like, instead of being like, hey, we should give talented auteurs money to make their idea. Right. It was like, oh, people are really into black horror or like whatever weird lessons they were taking. And they tried to make all these movies and none of them were good. Yeah. And it's like, now everyone's going to be like, yeah, people are into relationship horror. It's like, no, people are into well-made movies.
Yeah. I think institutions typically tend to do stuff like that. They take, because the ideas aren't their own. So they're taking an idea of what they think it is and making something, and it just never works in that way. But I do think to a degree that if we're going to take something from anything, it's like you can do stuff on a budget. Like if we're going to take anything from Obsession,
For sure,
you can do something on a budget. And then do your own idea on that budget.
And I'm excited. I'm selfishly like, I already shot a no budget psychological horror. It's in post right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's falling over their own butts to like scramble to make something that I already made. So I'm happy. Like the landscape's about as primed as it ever could be for a movie like mine to come out.
Yeah.
But it's still just like, I just wish people would just keep making stuff that feels good and honest to them, and not chase trends. You know, because like I think what you mentioned earlier, like audiences crave like authenticity. I think that's from the filmmakers as well.
Totally.
Where it's like it has to come from like a genuine place, or I think people can just feel cynicism almost.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but do you have like, so obviously you like Selena a lot, but I mean, like, forgive me, there's a couple of things about Selena that I'll say that are probably you're gonna be like, hey man, relax.
I do have an answer to your question for sure,
but like, I mean, do you prefer more like schmaltzy type movies, or do you like kind of a wide variety of things, or are you just like, no, I like to like feel good when I watch stuff, or do you mind movies that have like bad, sad endings?
For sure. I think I grew up.
I guess this movie kind of has a fucked up, sad ending now that I think about it.
I mean, I mean that the movie is what it is based on what happened. I mean, it's based on a true story. But I do enjoy, like, I grew up in the 90s, born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. So that style of filmmaking is where my heart lives. So, like I mentioned earlier, A League of Their Own, Selena, Girl Interrupted, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? There's like that style of filmmaking that just takes you on a whole journey. And there's just so much in each movie that I mentioned that the characters are so well developed that you're invested in the characters. So whatever the outcome is the outcome. I have to accept that or not. Like if I am triggered by something, I got to go to therapy and deal with it. But I enjoy character-driven stories, stuff that make you think. I'm not big on like the mindless movies. Like I'll use those for like if I had a very stressful day on set or something, then I'll watch like a Housewives or Big Brother or something that like isn't too I don't have to think much about. But like I really enjoyed like Oppenheimer and Maestro and stuff like that, like character-driven stories that like get into the mind of a person. Because like I'm a true Pisces, like I'm heavily invested in humans and their experiences. So that's knowing nothing about astrological signs, I'll believe you. We're the dreamers. Like we're vulnerable, we're sensitive, like we love humans, we're empathetic.
No, I'm excited to hear you say that though, because I do think that a commonality in films that I like, and the thing is, I can get down in like a vibe movie, but I'm very character driven. Yeah, like I would say if there was any through line that you could find in the stuff that I like and the stuff that I write, is it's all about the characters. It's not about the plot. It's not about really the vibes as much. It's like character. That's what I always zero in on. That's what I always ding movies for, is if I'm just like, you just didn't develop this person, or I just didn't like, it's not even so much about caring about the person, but it's like, I can, because I've gotten into like, not arguments, but like my dad's a good example of like, he'll often say like, well, I just didn't like the main guy. I couldn't get into it or whatever. And I'm like, that's not usually a rub for me. I don't care how big of a piece of shit a character is in a movie, as long as I can at least wrap my head around understanding them. It's like, because like people were kind of there were some people that really didn't like Marty Supreme. And I was like, they're like, oh, he's such a piece of shit, and he's so fucking.
But the thing is, it's not about him being a piece of shit. That was the annoying part. Like, yes, he is a piece of shit, but like, there has to be some sort of redeeming quality, and there was no redeeming quality. Even at the end,
That's
when
what I'm
like he
saying.
has a
So I don't
baby, there was no. I don't care that you have a baby. Great. Like, I felt bad for the baby because you have two piece of shit parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those.
Now the slow reveal of Odessa Zion being also as big of a piece of shit as him, I was reveling in it.
But that's the thing. Like, you like at least loved her. Like, regardless, like she was a piece of shit. But at the same time, like, you still cared about her a little bit because you understood where she came from.
Yeah, I was having trouble in that movie figuring out if I was just kind of, if I just love a psycho woman, or if it's just I specifically am obsessed with Odessa Zion, because the answer to that is I am obsessed with her.
Yeah,
like I hate when I devolve into this on the show, but I do it sometimes where I'm just being thirsty over actresses. But
and that's
God
okay.
damn it, she's so fucking hot.
Yeah,
it's just like unbelievable. Yeah. And then she was like showing up at red carpets wearing like no shirt and a suit jacket, and I was just like, God damn.
Well, if she's listening, listen, you never know.
But that was another thing where it was like I was seeing like think pieces about her because people were like, "Oh, she's like hot," and I just don't understand like what's so attractive about her. And people were like, "Yeah, she looks a little different than the actresses that you're used to seeing because she has like a slightly Romanesque nose and just dark hair."
Yeah.
And people were like, I don't really understand why I'm feeling these things. Like, and I'm just like. And so I always remember. Did you ever watch Broad City?
I did, yeah.
Love that show.
Yeah.
I was like haunted by this like interview clip I saw of Abby Jacobson talking about how people would come up to her and be like, I don't really get it, but for some reason I'm like kind of attracted to you.
Okay, thanks.
It's like, exactly. Okay, thanks. It's like, oh, you guys can't, because it's like there's all these weird men who like can't wrap their head around the fact that she's like charming and has a great personality, but she's not like traditionally of the looks that people expect.
Yeah.
And they're just like, why do I feel like hot for her? That's weird. And it's like, because she's awesome. And, and also she is very pretty. But I just was like, fucking men, man. Like,
don't get me started. Listen, this is why I was like, before the show, we were talking about what to talk about, what not to talk about, but we could go for days. Cause like that in and of itself, like heterosexual men, there's just a thing. We could go on for days and weeks and months, just about kind of the value of women and like what you just described, like the aesthetics of it. Like, but I would much prefer somebody who's more like personality based than like looks.
But it's also relevant, I think, to the Selena conversation because there is an underlying current of like sexism and things like that in this movie. Like the whole. It doesn't end up becoming that much of a roadblock in this movie. Yeah. Nothing really is a roadblock. The things they choose to focus on in this movie are very interesting because it's like understood that her getting into this like genre of music it's a very male dominated genre. But she just kind of broke through just because she just was that girl.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because there is like, it's, I guess, worth having conversations about Selena herself, the real life figure, in terms of like, that's something I've always found fascinating in the music industry, especially like, it's obviously in acting as well, but somehow your attractiveness has to also factor into you being a musician.
Yeah.
And that is like a real thing.
Yeah.
Cause like, I'm a big like Chappell Roan and like Sabrina Carpenter fan, but I'm also like, would Sabrina Carpenter be as big as she is if she didn't look the way she looked? And the answer is no. It's just unequivocally no.
Yeah.
But it's also like, but why? It's like if the songs are good, right?
Yeah. I mean, sex sells at the end of the day. Like that's just one of the.
Because it's like, would Selena have been as popular as she was if she didn't look like that?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's very interesting because they I feel like they touch on it a little bit in the movie. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like, I mean, so you clearly have like a long history with the film.
Yes.
So have you just sort of transitioned into the movie itself? Like you saw it at like a really young age?
I did. I owned it. I owned the soundtrack.
Oh, wow.
I was alive during that time.
I'm kind of curious. Did the soundtrack have Welcome to the Jungle on it?
No,
because they dropped that twice in the movie, and I was like, really?
No, it was not on the soundtrack. It was pretty much all of her stuff. including not including, but in addition to like the disco medley, which were covers, but you know she did.
I will say, as someone that doesn't know a lot about her,
Yeah.
opening the movie with her disco medley was very confusing to me.
Interesting,
because I literally had to be like, that's not her song. I was like, am I crazy? I was like, surely. I was like, no, that's a disco song,
right?
Like, I was like, she did not come up with "I Will Survive."
I think it was very smart of them to do that because it showed her crossover appeal, like she's in Corpus Christi,
I will
Texas.
also say my very first note is opening this movie with "I Will Survive" is wild.
Well, but that's incredibly smart. And now that you just said that, to be completely honest, like I kind of view it as kind of genius because it's one of those things that like her legacy will survive no matter what.
That's
has
true.
happened.
That's a great way to look at it.
That's incredibly smart. Ooh, see, you just unlocked something else. Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, no, I think it's incredibly smart for them to have done that because she had in tremendous crossover appeal. But that is her most iconic concert. And she did it and did it very well.
I was a little surprised to read that I guess that all the singing in this movie was Selena.
Yes. Yes.
I'm curious. I wonder how J-Lo felt about that.
I think from what I read and have seen, she was fully on board with that because she's like, I can sing a little bit, but like let Selena be Selena. And she
which is really, I didn't know that at the time. I just in this movie I was like, wow, J-Lo's doing a good job. So to like read that it was Selena, it was nice as someone that has not in my own life really listened to Selena.
Sure.
Being like, watching this movie, I'm actually getting to hear the songs. And like, I mean, my God, she's obviously an incredibly talented vocalist. Yeah. I'd be curious to see if the kid was dubbed. I didn't actually read up on that. I do want to know
that way. I don't know that
because even the kid stuff is like, God damn,
so good. It was like this movie was so perfectly cast. But everybody did their thing.
Baby Selena was like your inspo, huh?
Right. Yeah. She was incredible. All of the acting was so good. But I do know that Jennifer Lopez lived with the Quintanilla family. So she got all of the home videos and like all of the inside of like who Selena actually was. So like all the mannerisms, like I thought like the lip syncing is one thing, but like the mannerisms and like you said before, the it factor, like she just had that it factor, has that it factor.
Yeah.
That's undeniable.
I was like, I ended up watching the movie last night and then there was a moment where I was like, wait, this movie came out in 1997.
Yeah.
And I was like looking at the timeline of like when Selena was
2 years after her death
killed. And I was like, wait.
Yeah.
And then so I ended up doing a huge deep dive on like, I was like, this is crazy that this movie came out like less than 2 years after she died.
Yeah, they had to. It's unfortunate. Like the story about it is unfortunate.
Yeah. And I was like, because I was initially like, oh, this feels morbid. And then I read up on it and was like, okay, so it was actually coming from a somewhat earnest place in the sense that people were apparently falling over themselves to make a movie about it.
Yeah.
And then her father was like, well, if it's going to happen anyway, I'd rather have her story be like portrayed honestly.
Which is, which is kind of what we discussed earlier, like the shittiness of corporations sometimes and like studios wanting to take somebody else's story and do it for capital gain. A whole nother story for a whole other day.
Sure.
But again, like you said, if it's going to happen, it has to happen with the family's approval, blessing, as well as their overall involvement in order for it to be what it was.
But it is very stunning too. Cause I mean, for this to have come out in 97 means they probably shot it in 96.
Yeah.
So we're talking like almost less than a year after she died. They basically fast tracked this movie, got a studio involved. Studio ended up picking the director.
Yeah.
The father was like initially kind of against this director, but then kind of was like,
he actually wrote it too.
Yeah. It was a lot of like back and forth of like figuring out who the right people were. There was a lot of like backlash when they casted J-Lo.
Yeah.
And
then
a
Puerto Rican versus a Mexican.
But then like there's a little story in like the article I read where when they did that recreation of that famous concert, it like really like won everybody over, and they're like, you are her, and so which is really cool. And then like I was a little stunned to see that John Seda, I don't know if that's how you say his last name, how fucking deep he went, apparently. Apparently he spent a lot of time with Chris Perez, and there was a little blurb I read that he basically tricked Chris Perez into coming on set the day he was auditioning for The Family.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, I say, oh man, I can't do the guitar. Maybe you could like show me or whatever. And apparently the inserts are Chris Perez, like of the guitar and stuff. And because like Chris didn't really super want to be involved in the movie because it's obviously too raw and painful. Of course. But they were just, like, I don't know, it's just there's a very strange amount of devotion to from the actors to like try to get it right.
Yeah,
which you have to really appreciate.
Absolutely.
And it was very funny because I was laughing like the second ever James Olmos like showed up on the screen. I was like, he's one of the few actors whose names is just like locked into my head. And he has like such a look. And I was like, hey, Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, it's wild how every actor looked so closely to the actual people. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, I do always love seeing him. He's just like so prolific.
Yeah,
he's been in just 5 million movies.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like, I would consider maybe his most famous movie probably to be Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, for the most part though, the cast, other than Jennifer Lopez and Ever James Olmos, I wasn't terribly familiar with a lot of the actors. John Seda, like, he has a hell of a resume. Like, he was in 12 Monkeys and Bad Boys 2 and stuff. And so I'm sure that I would recognize him. I didn't super recognize the mom, even though I really loved her in this movie. She didn't, I didn't really clock like what I could possibly know her from. And looking at her filmography, I'm not seeing anything that super sticks out to me, but yeah, I think we should crack into it.
Let's do it.
So like we said, the movie does kind of open with this, like, I think it's Fort Worth, Texas. Maybe where this concert happened.
Hold on. The Houston Astrodome. So.
Oh, Houston.
Yeah.
Probably Houston then. Somewhere in Texas. Not Corpus Christi. But they open with this concert and she does the disco medley and you see that one thing that I constantly, and the movie never really assuaged this for me, I could not keep my finger on the pulse of like how popular Selena was supposed to be at a given moment in the movie. Like, obviously there's a couple concerts that she performs at and you're like, whoa, she must be so popular, because there's that one that they do in Mexico where like all those people show up.
Yeah.
And then obviously this Astrodome concert, it's like a massive audience. But it's like there are moments in the movie where I still was like, if she's this famous, I don't feel like the life she's living really fully matches like how famous she supposedly is. Sure. But I also was like, but then I read up on her and I feel like it seems to me like a lot of the tragedy of her death was that she hadn't quite even reached her peak, like even close to it yet. So I really have I was really having a hard time just understanding like how famous she was. Like some of her records like went platinum 1 million times over. So that seems pretty big to me. Yeah. But I just don't know. Cause and also I would have been like 5 when she was kind of at her peak. Yeah. So I just never really have crossed over with her music at all. And there's also a lot of business with her music, with a lot of it being in Spanish. Yeah. So she had a much bigger like Spanish contingent. She was just starting to break into English language stuff, like when unfortunately the weirdest death ever happened. But I mean, she's someone I would imagine you probably saw the movie first before you sort of encountered her music. But
no, back in middle school, when she did her English stuff, Dreaming of You and I Could Fall in Love, those two were played on heavy rotation on this radio station called B95.5. So I would listen to Selena almost every morning before going to kindergarten.
Wow.
So I didn't put 2 and 2 and 2 together until 2 and 2 and 2. 2 and 2, 6 together until the movie.
That's funny. Wow. Yeah.
So she impacted my daily life.
I kept waiting for a song in the movie to happen to me for me to be like, oh, and it never did. Like I just kept being like, maybe this one, no, and I was like the Biddy Bomb one. I was like, no, not familiar. Okay. And then like Dreaming of You, I was like, it's nice, but no, I don't think I ever heard it.
Remind me, you are born and raised from Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. Fort Wayne-ish adjacent.
I was technically born in Fort Wayne. We moved to northern Indiana and then I moved back around this area when I was in like 5th grade.
Okay.
And then I've been here since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about like the demographics of it all too, because like growing up in upstate New York, like we knew about her, but why? Like, you know, like
I mean, and it's also like one of those things where I'm sure her death in a weird way probably boosted her profile just a little bit because of how just insane it was.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure people were falling all over themselves to like go and listen to her music. And she hadn't even finished the album, the English crossover album yet when she died.
Yeah.
But they still kind of, you know, pushed that out because it was recorded.
Yeah.
But it's same thing was like, it feels like sometimes when like people die, all of a sudden people start checking their shit out, which is like a cruel irony.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, infamously, Vincent Van Gogh was never did well in his real life.
Yeah.
And then like later it's like all hundreds of years later we're all like, wow, what a genius. Well, it doesn't really help him very much, does it?
Yeah. That's like a whole traveling exhibit.
Yeah. And it's very strange. But so she's opening this concert, so I'm like, okay, she's big, but this is a kind of a flash forward.
Right.
And then we like cut way back into the past and we meet like the Dinos.
Selena, it was just the Dinos at the time, right?
And then like I wasn't like there was no like Chiron, so I didn't really understand that this was like super far in the past. But they're like supposed to go up to a gig, and they like meet with this guy, and the guy's like, "Sorry, we can't really use you." And you hear him on the phone later. He's like, "Why'd you tell him to come here? The club's whites only." And I was being a little jokey in some of my notes. I wrote, whites only. What is this, 2016?
Well, I mean, but that's the one thing, like rewatching it, like I've seen the movie no less than 100 times. And it's always so interesting, no matter what year I watch it, how relevant some of these themes are. And it's kind of wild to experience. But like we do go back to before Selena was even born, to her dad's experience with racism and his trying to get into the music business, and you know him and his group were super talented in their own right.
Yeah, he ends up having this interesting monologue later in the movie with Selena, and AB I think is her brother's name, where he does this huge rant about being Mexican American.
Yeah,
and they do set the table for this right away, where you watch the Dinos, they sing white music, so naturally they would actually ironically be a great fit for these white clubs, but because they're Mexican, no one wants them there. And so they're like, fine, fuck it, we'll go play a Mexican club. But then they don't really play Mexican music. So they start singing their schmaltzy white crap, and a full-scale riot breaks out. I was like laughing, like rioting and screaming, "We want to dance" is a really strange hill to die on.
Yeah.
like literally being like, "We want to dance," and throwing beer bottles at people. It's like, all right, relax.
I mean, I definitely think that was way more metaphorical than anything.
For
like
sure.
And I think that's really good for like just the general public to see, because the like Latino and Mexican culture, like having lived in Los Angeles for as long as I have, like the rich Mexican culture that exists, and all of the rhythm and the food, it's just so rich in culture that stripping any bit of it away is a disservice to the culture. So sure, let's sing gringo music, as they called it, but where are our roots? Like, this is what we do. Mexicans dance. We have a good time. And to sing blue, it's so interesting because it's the most subdued and like, you know, like vanilla song. In that when they're in the cab and the guy's like, "What'd you guys do?" There's a full-on ride, and he's like, "We sang We Belong Together." Like it's such a cool like way to describe like that time and the difference between cultures, and I think that was really cool. This movie was so well written and so smartly done. I can't say enough about it.
But so we're essentially getting her dad's origin story to start with.
Yeah,
we flash forward. Now he's got a family.
Yep.
And he's played by Edward James Olmos.
Yes.
Which thankfully they didn't put Edward James Olmos in like young makeup and try to make him do this like 20-year-old version of himself. But one day he's like noodling on the guitar and seems to realize that Selena is like a crazy good singer. And so they decided to start a family band.
Yes.
Much to the dismay of these children, which is very funny.
The mom.
And the mom,
for 2 different reasons.
She's already just like, how did you didn't spend money on this, and what the hell? And he's like, no, it's all secondhand. Don't worry about it. And he's basically just like, son, you're a guitarist. Selena, you're a singer. And much to the dismay of Suzette.
But I also think that that's a really cool display and example of like what the American dream is like anything is possible. And like with Abraham's dreams and like the reality of the mom being like, okay, well, we need money for this and that. Like, how are we going to do that just based on the dream? Like, we need the money to live. And then ironically, they open a restaurant. But.
Yeah, this is so really strange. Just like sometimes this movie like hops around in ways to where I'm like, but wait, what? Because I don't even know if we ever find out what Abraham's other job was.
I don't think so.
It's basically just like, he's like, we're starting a family band. And then there's a lot of business of like the kids being like, we just want to play. And he's like, no, practice. They're like, well, we want to play our music. He's like, no, play Blue Moon. And they're like, we don't want to.
Right.
And like the Suzette, the daughter, is like very upset about being a girl that plays drums.
Yeah.
Which obviously in modern times would be like awesome.
Yeah.
But back then, it's not girly enough for her. Although ironically, she seems to just become the drummer for the band eventually. But
trendsetters.
There's a scene late in the movie where Chris is like, he's like, yeah, my family wanted me to become a doctor, so I became a guitarist. And she's like, oh, you would have been great in my family. My dad wanted a son that would become a guitarist. She's like, well, then I would have became a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, it really is just like, you can't really win for losing.
Totally.
Like, no matter what you want to try to push your kids into, they're always going to want to do the opposite.
Totally.
So it's like, if you want your kid to become a doctor, like, I want to become an actor.
Yeah.
And if you like actually really force fed your kid like into becoming an actor, they'd be like, I want to be a vet.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
they
totally.
no one ever wants to do the thing that somebody else wants them to do.
Correct.
And I've experienced that myself. Like it's come up on the show a few times, but like I took classes in college where our homework was to watch some of the greatest movies of all time. But because it was homework, I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And so like I missed out on watching some incredible films because I was like, I can just look up the summary and bullshit my way through class. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, I could have watched Double Indemnity.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
My teacher was basically doing us a favor. But because it was homework, I was like, no.
Yeah.
And Selena's like obviously this incredible singer, but she doesn't. It's kind of an interesting journey in that it seems like eventually she really enjoys like performing for the crowd, but she doesn't initially seem to have an incredible passion for singing.
No.
She just is just naturally good at it, I guess. But then he is like, also we're opening up a Mexican restaurant, and it's like kind of implied that they live in like a more like ritzy white neighborhood. And so it's kind of like a joke, I guess, that like all the gringos love the Mexican food, and seems like the restaurant's doing okay. And then the kids are singing and, getting experience playing music in front of people. And then it just like kind of all goes downhill so fast. Like I said, there's like before we started recording, I wrote, even in Selena, Ronald Reagan is the true villain. Cause like, there's just almost like a throwaway line where they're like, we were doing so well and now we're not. And they're like, they're just like, they're like fucking Reaganomics, I guess. And I was just like, it's almost a throwaway line in the movie that like Ronald Reagan ruined their lives.
I mean, like you said, it is a throwaway line, but it does just go to show how just certain random little decisions from the top can affect the bottom. But I will say, and I wasn't going to say this, but what I will say is you throw anything at an immigrant and an immigrant will figure it the fuck out. The resilience of an immigrant is not to be understated. And listen, I'll just leave it there before I get in trouble.
But I also was just like, I was like, what job is he working where he also is having a restaurant? I just was like I couldn't imagine owning and running a restaurant and then also working like your day job.
But I think that does speak to, which is an interesting at that time, like his wife had such a big role in a lot of the decision making. Like ultimately the things that he said went, but he did listen to her. And I think that she was like, all right, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And she took it upon herself to help run the restaurant, which was amazing as a woman.
One of the things that was really funny in this movie was and I feel like this is almost realistic in a sense where it felt like there was a lot of like decisions being made and a lot of like compromises being made that could have been more intense, but there's a lot of like roller coasterness of like the dad being angry, but then like coming to terms with it and like coming around, and even like the kitchen thing. That was a ride because it was like, oh, it seemed like the mom's like really thriving, like running this kitchen, but then as soon as I literally had that thought, she turns around and is just like, I never wanted any of this. And like, now I'm just like running a restaurant. And he's like, well, I'm going to be here too. And then later she's like, I just wanted to like have a house and a family. Yeah. Like, why the fuck do we have to do all this shit? And, and it is a little bit like, obviously the movie's called Selena and ultimately it's about Selena, but you know, and maybe this is like just sort of naturally the result of the fact that the father had such a heavy hand in like even the creation of this movie existing. Like, it really, a lot of the stuff in this movie is also about Abraham.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he's pushing his family into doing music because he's a failed musician. And there's a line where she's just like, you're only doing this because you never were able to make it. And he's like, no, it's just going to be a hobby. It's just for fun. But it's like, no, deep down, he's like, I never made it. Yeah. But my kid is talented, so maybe I can live vicariously through her.
Sure.
And I mean, I think that's one of the things that's the movie as a movie gets right is like, you're always looking for things that are relatable. And I think that anybody can relate to their parents, like being like, I wasn't able to achieve this thing, but like, I'll push you to do it, you know? And like even in my own life, my dad wasn't that aggressive about it, but he played sports all of his life. His entire life was sports. And he wasn't unsubtle about me playing sports, but he wasn't like mean about it either. But I could tell he liked that I was like doing football and basketball. And when I eventually kind of stopped doing all that stuff, like he was never upset at me about it. But I think that in his perfect world, he would have had like a superstar athlete son. And it's like, sorry. And I'm thankful that he's not enough of a dick to let that like ruin our relationship or anything. But I know he's probably a little bit sad that he didn't get to go to basketball games throughout my high school career. And there was hints and pressure about that. Certainly not to the level that Abraham's putting on Selena.
Right, but it still has the same psychological impact. You always want to make your parents proud. And I do think that there is like an overall theme of like, I think even the mom said it in the movie, like we're supposed to just love our kids. Like at the end of the day, whatever that looks like, because as we all know, everybody enters the world how they enter it with the tools that they're given. And you love your kid with the capacity that you have.
Yes.
And I think he did that how he knew how to. We don't know what his upbringing is like, but there were many hints of like Mexican culture and what that means, and kind of the folding that he had when it came. Because I think it's widely known, like especially Mexican men, there's like a machismo, like we're the men of the house, but like he would always fold with Selena, which was really cool to see. Like they did a really good job of balancing that Mexican macho machismo thing, but then Selena always would find a way to steer him in a more, not loving direction, but a more even direction, equal direction.
Yeah, I think that's really good to talk about too. Two things. Like one, I really do appreciate how complex they make Abraham.
Yes.
And like Edward James Olmos, like, I mean, this is like a really stellar performance from him. Yeah. Just the various levels that he has to hit in some of the scenes in this movie. Yeah. But also something that's fascinating and something that I think sometimes we don't consider as like Americans is like other cultures. Yeah. Because it's really easy to get in. It's a double whammy of like, America has a lot of bad stuff about it, and I could talk for 17 hours about all the bad stuff. Yeah. But I think sometimes it's good to talk about the good things, where it's like we do have like a freedom of culture and a freedom to like express ourselves to a certain extent.
Yeah, of course.
And we do have like a flexibility in terms of like where you want to sort of slot yourself into culture, you kind of can. Yeah. And it's also really easy to find your own tribes. Yeah. But that's the double whammy of like, I think me and you probably tend to lean a lot more progressive, a lot more like open to certain things. And it's been on my mind lately, ironically, because as of this recording, the World Cup has been happening. Yes. And I have been thinking a lot about like other cultures. Yeah. just seeing like Spain and Mexico and Argentina and France and all these like groups like on screen, and it's easy to forget like other cultures do have some aspects to them that they really push hard. And I have always thought of like Mexican culture as having like machismo, and there's like because there's literally cultures who their language is gendered. Like there's
Spanish being one of them.
when learning language being like, oh, this is a female verb and this is a male verb, and like haven't even wrapped my head around that. But I'm someone who believes that gender is a spectrum. Is like oh, but I have to learn this language and it's coded. And it's like and obviously when your language is binary gendered, it's like how do you ever even like break out from that line of thinking? And something that's been really fun, I've been joking a lot about football, aka soccer, because one of the main aspects of modern soccer is taking dives and like when you get hit, like making like really playing up that you've been like murdered.
Of course.
And I was like, it's really funny to me because like soccer is the biggest sport in most other countries. So the most high profile, biggest athletes in some of the biggest countries in the world, you can easily find video of them hollering and screaming and clutching their knees and acting like they've been shot. And I was like, it's not very macho of you to like, I'm like, most people would be like, if you got hurt, it's all about like grinning and bearing it and acting tough. But somehow in soccer, it's the opposite where you need to like holler like you've been killed. And I'm like, what's the rub there? I'm like, your top male athlete is on the ground screaming right now. And I'm like, is there not like a cognitive dissonance that's happening there? I'm kind of fascinated psychologically by it. Not that this is necessarily the place to get into it, but it's like, it's been pretty unanimous. There's not a single one of these teams in the World Cup that hasn't been doing that. Because I was like, maybe some of the more macho teams won't, but no, Mexico was just rolling around in the ground like everybody else. So I was just like, oh, okay, I guess that's just it's part of it.
The theater of it.
It is a real theater. Like every time they do the playback, they'll like get hit in the back of like their left calf, and then they're clutching their right knee, and I'm like, brother, you're not even touching the part that got hurt. It's just like whatever. But I have really been enjoying it. I literally planned my day tomorrow around seeing the championship. So I've been enjoying it a lot. But it has been, watching this movie. It's so much about being a Mexican American and straddling this line between like, is it Tejano? Tejano, like it's like, oh well, Tejano's like so masculine and it's all macho. Which I was even laughing because there's a scene where they play at this fair, so they lose the restaurant, they have to move, so they start really leaning into the family band stuff, and they're singing. The kids are singing in front of this unenthusiastic crowd, and then this is crazy, but some of them boo Selena as she's like leaving. I was like, that's a 9-year-old, you psychos. But and then they're like, next up at Fuego and whatever. Everyone's like, yeah. And this is like whenever James almost is like, it's like Tejano music. I'm trying so hard not to, because I love to do people's voices. But when it's like culturally appropriate, I'm like I need to not. That's fair. But because there's some guys that show up later in the movie, they're like Selena's. I'm like, you want to do the voice, but he's like it's a masculine culture, but these dudes are wearing these fucking gimpy little shiny suits and stuff. I was like, oh wow, how macho.
Like, that's like a cultural thing too. Like it's like the oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the name of like the type of. But it's like rodeo culture, and the more done up it is, the better it is. It's again a cultural thing.
It's very funny to think, because I mean, in like Scotland, wearing a kilt,
the kilts,
is like macho, but if you wore a skirt here in America, suddenly that's not. Just the lines are strange. Like,
don't get me started, Jake.
Eventually, we do get that great conversation between the dad and the mom. Like, we just need to love our children. He's like, I do love the children, but also they could be successful. Like, Edward James almost does a good job in this movie of simultaneously feeling soft and caring, but also like kind of weaseling his way out of the arguments and still pushing the thing that he wants.
Yeah.
Which is like, I still want to do the family band. And eventually we finally do cut to J-Lo.
Yeah.
She's playing at like yet another rodeo. This one seems to be a little bit more successful. The big rub here is like eventually she takes off her jacket and she's in a bustier. I wrote a note. This is a joke just for me and friend of the show, Justin. But there's a podcast we listen to where they have terms that they use called ass off and ass on, which is they give an award at the end of an episode where they say ass off means you were acting your ass off. And so the opposite of that is ass on, where you're doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
Like they always are like, his ass is firmly on as he delivers this line or whatever. But I wrote down ass off for the guy dancing with J-Lo and exclusively staring at her tits. Because she like starts dancing with one of the guys.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if this was an actor choice or if it was directorial. His eyes never leave her chest.
Okay.
And I was like, great performance. I was like, feels very realistic to me. I think it's the weird guy who's got like the mullet.
Yeah.
Who's like, later in the movie, I made a note where I was like, I was like, how do you get this gig? Because his role in the band seems to be guy who stands at the mic who kind of dances a little bit.
Yeah.
And occasionally goes, hola, like sings a little bit of backup.
Yeah,
I was like, give me that fucking role in the
That's
band.
Hilarious. It's literally a background singer.
It's like he doesn't play a single instrument. He doesn't even have like a fucking triangle or like a maraca or something. He just fucking stands there.
Yeah.
But it's a great spot in the band. I'd love to be that guy. But it just really made me laugh, being like, I'm like, he literally is just on her boobs the whole time. There's a lot of business about EJO, not being happy she was in a bustier. Part of the movie seems to be Abraham's cognitive dissonance about Selena becoming a big star, but also still being his little girl. There is a really funny scene. Like, again, I'm not trying to bag on a movie you really like, but when she's getting on the bus after this concert, she like looks over and next to like the merry-go-round, there's like a couple and they're like kissing and it just like really lingers on her, like looking at them. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is how we know that she longs for love.
Well,
it was just
it is a 90s movie.
It was so heavy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was giggling a little.
That's fair. It is interesting in filmmaking. Like, it is really difficult sometimes to like show certain emotions without like overdoing it. Like, somehow we have to show that like her life wasn't normal per se, and like she didn't really have that like typical thing where she could have that crush. Like, she
basically spends all of her time with just her family.
So I feel personally like it was an appropriate amount of time.
I don't think that the idea was bad. They just linger on it too long.
Fair. That's fair.
If she saw it, clocked it, and was like, oh. But it just goes on and on. And I was like, relax, guys. I got it. But that's also something in more like broad appeal movies that I will always clock, where is like, I picked up on what they were trying to say, but they're like, but the audience needs to know, so they just kind of like grind it into the dirt a little bit.
More seconds. I don't think they got it just yet. Now, there we go. Yeah.
But I had a note here where they've. Because it's flash forward, they've really gone all out on Ever James Olmos and the mom's fits.
Oh yeah.
Mom Constance Marie, she's absolute charmer in this movie. Her old lady fit is which I called it, is so fucking funny to me in this movie. I'm just really like, because she's so attractive. I was gonna say, she's so beautiful. And like, they try to put her in this weird haircut and they like throw these big glasses on her. And they're like, she's old now. And I'm like, she's still so hot, but she just looks really funny.
Do you remember how they looked in the 90s? Like,
for sure.
Big old glasses and like those very unflattering hairstyles. Like,
there's been this weird trend where they've been like doing like hair swaps on like actresses from like I noticed the Golden Girls have been the target of it, where they've been like putting like Jennifer Aniston haircuts on like some of the Golden Girls to be like, because when the Golden Girls were the Golden Girls, they weren't that old.
Yeah, no.
A lot of it really was like just the way they were dressing in their hair and stuff. And so, but yeah, it's just like the haircut the mom has. But that's another thing where it's like movies like this are like how I know I'm getting old, because it's like, 10 years ago, I would have just been salivating over J-Lo.
Oh, yeah.
And then in this movie, I was just looking at the mom like, she's hot.
And fair, because she is.
And then Edward James Olmos, they just give him this like slicked back hair mullet thing. And he's basically wearing like some pretty hot aviators like the whole movie, as like his glasses game in this movie is great. Yeah. But he's also just another example of like, elephant in the room as far as Edward James Olmos goes, like obviously a very distinctive face in terms of like how pockmarked like his face was, but no, he's still one of our most prolific actors of all time because he's just that good. I always think about crap, I'm blanking on the guy that plays Columbo.
Oh Lord.
Just one more thing. But he had like kind of like a fucked up eye. Honestly, him and Forrest Whitaker are both in like kind of the and Tiny Lister. There's like subcategory of like fucked up eye actors where it's like, no, they're just so compelling it doesn't matter. I don't mean it in a rude way.
No, I know what you mean, but that's a perfect.
It's just like, I think when you think of acting, you almost think like everything has to be like perfectly symmetrical and all this stuff, and it's like, no. Why it's gonna really bother me. I'm gonna have to look it up.
But I think you think that for leading man for sure, but you look at like the Willem Dafoes and all of that. Like there are those actors who are just like that good and who are in everything.
Yeah, Peter Falk is the one I was trying to pull, and the thing is, like, Peter Falk is good enough that he is the lead actor in movies, and even though he's like one more thing and like stuff like that, I mean, he's Columbo.
Yeah.
But Edward James Olmos again is like, you almost, if you at a glance, you might just be like, oh well, you can't be an actor. So no, man, motherfuckers in Blade Runner and Selena. Selena's dad. And I read that he was a real good like team leader as far as like all the actors really felt like they could lean on him for like advice, and he really was like a father figure to them, which like he seems like a nice guy. Never heard a bad word about him. So
he follows me on Twitter.
Really?
Shout out James Edwards Olmos.
Don't clip B calling his face out. No.
It's posted on Twitter. I almost forgot.
I think he's great. I genuinely think he's amazing.
No. Okay, clean it up, Jake. No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
No, he's so amazing in the movie.
That's hilarious.
I didn't really know what to say about this lowrider subsection. I tried to make like a joke about the lowrider song, but these they go to take the bus out. The kids do without the dad, and they get stuck in a ditch, and this like lowrider shows up with even down to like the stereotypical tiny steering wheel thing, which was like in vogue in the 90s, which is like, can't imagine trying to fucking drive a car with a wheel like that. But even though they're very like macho, tatted up dudes, they're like, I think that's Selena's. Which I was also laughing about the pluralizing of Selena's. It reminded me of that Key and Peele sketch. Like where they're like, Liam Neeson's. Liam Neeson's is my shit. There is something very funny about pluralizing people's names. But like, that's Selena's, and they end up trying to pull the bus out and they lose their bumper, and they're like, anything for Selena's. He's like, I'm gonna frame this deal. Which is like, this is the because I was like really confused about what was going on in this scene. Because I also was like really worried they were gonna perv on her, but they really don't. They're very respectful. They don't try to like, because I was like, I kept waiting for them to like, get in our car, we'll take you somewhere. But they end up just taking the brothers. They're not trying to like lure Selena away, because I thought something skeevy was going to happen. But instead, the point of the scene seemed to be just to establish that she is like having an impact in like the music world, to the point where people who you wouldn't think stereotypically would enjoy her music are like fans. This is kind of like, again, I was a little lost at times in this movie, like how popular she was supposed to be. Because even like right after this, they're like at a taco stand and the radio's playing, and like they're like, that was Selena y los Dinos with Como La Flor. It's the #1 song, and they were like, the #1 song. Oh my god! And I was like, maybe I don't understand how radio works, but I was like, how did they not know that their song was doing well on the radio. I'm like,
well, it is a different time. Like, not
like,
everybody just had a phone on them.
Yeah, but I'm like, surely they had to like I know there's been like freak viral hits even back in the day, because I believe that was like how Shaggy blew up. Was there was like some random DJ in Hawaii who started playing It Wasn't Me, because he just found the CD, and people were like calling the station being like, what was that? Play that again. And so it started to like gain momentum, and like even Shaggy didn't know that any of this was happening. So I know it's possible, but again, like another factor, and like, because it trades in this weird world where they're on this broke down bus and they're poor and they're making $600 at the rodeo because the guy's like, she's a woman, fuck her. But then they're the number one hit on the radio. And I was like, wait, I was having like some weird, I just didn't feel like I was tracking it super well. But I also don't know if maybe, I mean, if you're in upstate New York and hearing her music, like clearly was getting around, but I just was a little, I couldn't tell if this was like realistic or if this was like movie bullshit.
I'm sure it's a combination of both. You know, like you have to establish it somehow in a film, and some things are just really hard to establish. So the one way to let people know that she went number one is to have a scene where she went number one, and it's an unrealistic circumstance. But you know, and it's what it is.
They introduce Chris Perez into the movie. He's playing crazy heavy metal riff. He's a bad boy. But the brother's really vouching for him, and the dad doesn't really want him, but finally he's like give him a haircut, and apparently he has no one else to cut his hair but Selena's sister. I sort of jokingly wrote, welcome to the jungle plays while they cut this poor boy's wig, because I mean it's absolutely a wig that they're just going to town. And I was a little surprised because I thought we were going to get a full crew cut, but they do leave a little. They leave our boy with a little bit of length. He's got like kind of the slick. This is it's a real '90s look for sure. The slick back ponytail. I don't know. You ever watch I Think You Should Leave? The sketch show.
No.
There's a sketch on there where they're like Tim Robinson is just kind of going on and on about. He's like, I used to be a real piece of shit. He's like, hair slicked back. And like, so there's like a running joke in one of my friend groups where we're like, hair slicked back real good. His hair is slicked back. And he's got like the curly ponytail. It's like such a specific look. Kind of associated with like wrestlers in the 90s almost.
I could see that for sure.
Right away, him and Selena are having like little sparks. Because I think he's the first boy her age she's been around. So thankfully it worked out for them. But they go on like a date. They have this like really, I don't know how you feel about this, but they have this like really boring conversation about how she just really likes pizza. Which like I was laughing because it feels very realistic. But it's almost like so realistic that I'm like, why is this in the movie? In terms of just like, she's just like, I really like pizza. And I was like, geez, Selena, what a hot take.
Well, again, I feel like it was one of those, establishing her as like, no matter how famous she got, like she still just enjoyed pizza, and she was just your down home girl who didn't need a lot. And then to have, like maybe it's just, I could be biased. Like as I'm like having my takes, I'm like, am I just really that biased, or do I just?
Well, that's literally the show. The show is called Clear Tinted Classics, and like the entire point of the show is that I'm just watching it for the first time with fresh eyes. And what I like talking to people about is you have this nostalgia for this film. So of course, like, as someone who's seen the movie 100 times, like things are hitting different. And that's like part of the fun of the like perspectives is like, obviously I'm going to be a little ruder about certain things because I'm just like, I'm fresh faced and being a little cynical. And also because it's a show, I'm just being a little snarky, but it's also like, I am interested because I feel the same way about movies I grew up with. Like I think every joke in Happy Gilmore like hits. I'm sure somebody, if they watch that now, like if a millennial or whatever the fuck we're calling them watched Happy Gilmore, I'm sure they'd be stone faced the whole time. So take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Oh no, that's fair. That's fair. Well, because I wonder if like even with like life experience and world experience, like when you're dating somebody in your adult life, like you want that person to be so invested in you that no matter what you say, it's just like the most compelling thing in the world. They're talking about pizza, but like she was still able to break down this like rocker type who seemingly, you know, again, machismo, masculine, rough guy, like wouldn't care about like, you know, what she has to say about pizza, but like he was fully engaged, played along.
Sure.
So
and it's part of the reason it sticks out to me is it does feel like the kind of inane conversation you would have with somebody on a first date.
Yeah.
You don't really know what to talk about. So you're just like, I like pepperoni.
Right. Yeah, totally.
But it was very it just stuck out to me. And it was very funny. Cause like, something that happens on this show a lot is straight romances on this show have a hard time winning me over. The guy has to really just be amazing for me to like root for them to be together. I sort of like there was a 1-2 punch on the show where I did Pride and Prejudice in The Apartment back to back, and I was like, man, the straights are really on fire because like I was actually rooting for both of those relationships because what's his face in Pride and Prejudice is like, I mean, you're like, fuck, man, I get it, and then Jack Lemmon in The Apartment is really fun, but this movie it was a real tightrope walk of me trying to figure out if I liked Chris or not. Because like the movie does a good job of him trying to be all like cool. Yeah. And you do see that like Selena sees through that and she kind of breaks him down a little bit. And that feels nice. But a lot of the conversations they have still are very like just in terms of what the movie, because it's a 2-hour movie. You're trying to fit someone's entire life into 2 hours. It's fucking impossible. It's hard. But like, there are moments in the movie which is like, I know you, Chris. I love you. And I'm like, you guys had like one conversation about pizza, and then you like played a puzzle together on a bus. But okay, it's like, and so I kind of waffled back and forth on how much I liked Chris in this movie. Yeah, I wanted to like him, but I also was just like, I don't know. The scene is funny though because she is like. I literally gasped when they did the insert shot of him having hot sauce in a holster. I was like, what the actual fuck am I seeing right now? And then he pulls it out and he starts dumping it all over the pizza. And she's like, are you going to be able to handle that? And I started typing like, are you going to be able to handle that? That motherfucker has hot sauce in a holster. And then he starts choking on the pizza like it's too hot. And I was like, I'm twisting in the wind right now. I was like, how do you have hot sauce in a holster, but you can't handle the hot sauce? I was like, what is this man's life? Like, it just didn't. Hot sauce in a holster is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. But it's like the Beyonce thing. I got hot sauce in my bag. Like it's one of those, like, again, a cultural thing, I think.
I wrote red flags, psychotic behavior.
That's hilarious.
If someone pulled out hot sauce and dumped it on their pizza, that's fine.
Yeah.
If they started choking and couldn't handle it, I would be like, what's going on with you?
I think that was playful though, no? Like you didn't interpret that as,
I think
like,
the idea was, what they were going for was he put too much on to be macho. He probably would have just put a little dab on and like enjoyed a little spiciness. But instead he was like, I'm a dude. I'm literally soaked this pizza in hot sauce, which is crazy. Yeah. And then he paid the price for trying to look cool in front of her. I think that's what they were going for. Interesting. Okay. But I was just like the entire thing was like, what?
That's fair.
He's like, I'm just gonna have a little soda, but it was endearing too, in the sense that you see him like she's breaking him down a little bit, and it is fun because he's all like, yeah, cool, whatever. Yeah. I'm chill or whatever. And so, yeah, it was an interesting little sequence. We see them. There's a lot of bits. I'm probably not going to dive too deep into them just playing music. Yeah. I'm just going to kind of follow my notes here. And this note says the cow print is a miss. I'm sorry, Selena. That's hilarious. At one point you see her designing the cow print and I was like, I don't know about that one. And then later when you see it in action, which, to the movie's defense, they show clips of Selena later at the end of the movie to do kind of a slideshow of real Selena. Absolutely an outfit that she wore at one point. Yeah. So no shade to real life Selena. I mean, has cow print ever worked? Like,
I don't know. I
feel like so many people have tried to make cow print work and it just doesn't work.
That's fair. That's fair. It's a very.
I thought the outfits were bad.
I do wonder if that is like just a throwback to like the cultural thing.
Yeah.
Cows and cow print and like farms and farming and the whole cowboy culture is huge. I think it's just a nod to that, I think.
Yeah, and it just even when she had the sketches, she's like, and then I'll have a little cow print vest, and they'll have. I was like, I don't know. And then when we saw him later, I was like, damn. In her defense, a lot of the other fits are great. Like it's definitely some fire fashion in this movie, but the cow prints, thumbs down for me. This is where I'm still trying to figure Chris out, and we get a massive speed bump where I really couldn't wrap my head around what was going on here, but they're in like LA.
Yes.
And it just cuts to he's in the room and like he's with all these guys and they're just like trashing this hotel room.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was just their band. It seemed to be just like some guys that he had invited to his room.
Yeah. That
and they were trashing it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even participating in the trashing.
Yeah.
But it becomes a big thing for the band. Like Edward James almost is like, we'll pay for everything. And then like the security guard Wheeler is like, you think that's enough? Yeah, that kind and he's like, no. And I was like, what do you mean? Do you think that's enough? He's like, they trashed the room and pay for the fucking room. Yeah. What else do you want from him? Like a fucking formal apology? Like,
although I do wonder if that's a nod to the conversation in the car about Mexican Americans having to, do extra in order to be accepted or whatever, because that's something
which I think has maybe happened at this point, and I kind of skipped over, but it's a really great like rant that Edward James almost goes on. Like I love all of his like specific examples. He's like, we have to know who Frank Sinatra is and know, and sadly I probably can't pull most of the Mexican specifics because I don't know them. But he's like worried about Selena because he feels like she's going to get ripped apart if she doesn't speak perfect Spanish.
Especially as a woman.
But I was a little surprised because early in the movie, he starts like teaching her how to sing in Spanish. I was like, I'm a little stunned like that you guys didn't speak Spanish around her at all as a kid. And I was like, I guess they were making a really active choice to try to blend in with more like the American, like because of like the neighborhood they were in. But yeah, like she is not super well versed in Spanish at all, which is kind of interesting. But it's extra funny because she ends up becoming like essentially like a Spanish pop star, and all of her popular songs were in Spanish. But that wasn't. We'll get to it. But there's because I was really confused about the trashed hotel thing. The dramatic conversation she has with Chris afterwards is I was like, okay,
we missed some things in between. There were some things that they kind of again, it is hard, like we said, like in a 2-hour movie to try to fit somebody's whole life. Like we didn't get too much into who Chris, we get into who he was, like we got the general, but like that scene kind of felt like it was out of left field. And then that conversation afterwards, it was like, well, he didn't do anything, that he was literally just strumming on a guitar.
But I think it was implied that like those were guys he knew that he invited over. Like the idea is that he's self-sabotaging because he likes Selena too, but he knows that the dad doesn't want them to be together, and he's like, I'm not good enough for you. So he's like proving that he's just a shithead rock star after all. But this doesn't end up really amounting to much because they kind of just move on from it, and he doesn't get kicked out of the band. He's still there. We just kind of cut to Mexico where they have this like massive concert. This concert is very strange in the sense that like they don't think there's going to be a lot of people that show up. There's a scene where they're really worried about her talking to the media, but then she's like, I know what to do. And then it just goes to a montage of her like kissing people on the cheek, and I was like, okay. And then she's like speaking to them, and she can't think of the Spanish word, so she just says excited, and they just go, ha 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 ha, we love it. I read a little blurb in like the real life thing where I guess like the media in Mexico were actually very charmed by her in real life, just in the sense that they were so sick of like light skinned blonde telenovela stars that they were talking to, that like seeing someone like Selena was just like refreshing and real and charming to them. So she was like kind of a media darling. But the way they portrayed it in this movie, I was like, okay, I'm like, it was just funny because there's a lot of business of EJO being like, what are we going to do? And her just being like, I'm going to be nice.
But again, that's that great juxtaposition of like his lived experience of like what he knows of Mexican culture, Mexican media, and the literally the culture. I think there were so many really cool cultural references that we may not understand as Americans or whatever, but I do think that they did a really good job of him like trying to prep her for it. This is how it could be. It like because he experienced it. He got bottles thrown at his face. But then she's like, no, I got it. Like, it's cool. Like, it's fine. It's a new day. Janet Jackson does this, blah, 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 blah. And like, she's just able to break through all. And he even said that in the, like, you just jump through these barriers as if they didn't exist.
Yeah.
And truly, I think that's what it was. And
that is one of the things I do find sometimes happens in these biopics, though, is like, so I don't know how I feel about the fact that Selena has just essentially like superpowers in the sense that she just is flawless. And like the biggest bump I think she ever encounters is like when she's 9, the rodeo concert doesn't go super well. But from then on, she's just like successful and perfect and good and like everything she does. Any music she chooses to tackle, perfect. Decides to get into fashion, perfect. Decides to get into music, Grammys. Like in terms of like the pacing of a film, sometimes it's like, well, you do want to see them like stumble and fuck up sometimes, and she really doesn't. And I do think that that's something that happens in these biopics where it's just like, oh, this is just an exceptional person, and we're just gonna kind of watch them be exceptional for 2 hours. And they try to kind of, I think you're really smart to point out like some of the bumps are more coming from the father expecting there to be more problems, and by having him be such a central character, they can kind of play off of each other in terms of him expecting the worst but her exceeding expectations. And so it still works, but it's definitely a unique format that can be a little jarring at times, because even this concert is like there's so many more people that show up than they were supposed to, and then they start like crowding the stage and almost breaking the stage. They press a woman into a fence. I was like, are we gonna see a crowd person die? And then again, the way they solve this is Selena just sings a song, and I guess it pacifies 10,000 people because she's just maybe a witch.
I mean, I guess it, again, like just the subtleties of the film portion of it, where like, yes, she's singing, but then she like puts her finger up to shush them. Like just though there are just a lot of subtle things that happen in the film that you just kind of pick up on. But I had a point. Hold on. Because there was so the portion of it where there are no flaws, I was gonna try to justify it in a way that like her life was cut so short that there wasn't much of an opportunity, and she was so sheltered that there wasn't an opportunity, because by the time she was quote unquote free, she had married Chris and everything. There wasn't really an opportunity for anything real bad to happen. Her life was super structured. That's all I had with that.
No, it's just like and it's like she's not a perfect person. She steals chips and
absolutely
elopes and stuff.
I love that scene. The chip scene was my favorite.
His sister walked out, she's like, there's one rule, don't eat my chips.
Oh my god. And just the sound of the chips brought her back. Like, those are my fucking chips. Like,
she's like, but they're better because they're yours.
Yes.
Selena.
Love having siblings for that reason. It's so good.
They're walking on the dock and she's talking to Chris. And this is the scene where I was like, because I really love playing around with accents. And so sometimes I watch these movies and you can kind of tell that an actor was trying to do an accent in some scenes and then maybe dropped it. In this dock scene, suddenly J-Lo out of nowhere is like, well, I grew up in Corpus Christi and I was, I'm from a small town and I was so sheltered, Chris. And I was like, where the fuck is this accent coming from? She was not talking like this in the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I would say, if you guys have seen the movie, go back and watch the scene where she's walking on the dock, and it's a really dramatic scene that she's having with him, and you can tell this is maybe like, you can tell there are certain scenes where they're like, this is going to be what they play at the Oscars. And I think she maybe thought this was one of them. So I think she's really trying to play up the small town Texas girl in this scene. And she's not doing an accent in any of the other scenes. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, has she been doing this the whole movie? It like really threw me for a loop.
That's so funny.
It's like, it's fine. You don't have to do the accent. And then like, she clearly abandoned it, which is always what makes it more jarring. because every once in a while I'll be watching a movie and somebody tried something in one scene and clearly gave it up.
Yeah.
But it's like in this scene, they just leaned really heavy on like the I'm from New Orleans. And, like,
now I gotta go back and watch.
I'm telling you. I also think this is the scene where Chris says the line, "Do you remember that night in LA by the dumpsters?" And I was like, that's a crazy sentence to say out loud. That night in LA by the dumpsters.
Oh, man.
Wild.
Oh, well, if you're from LA, there are many. Listen, that's you.
Do you remember when there was dramatic blue light on both of our faces? And
that was the one scene. Actually, now that you say that was the one scene that like looked like it was at a soundstage.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm curious if it was or not. I don't know.
It looked like a play.
It did. It felt like it for sure. It was super staged.
Yeah.
With like blue and pink lights. Like.
Yeah, okay. And the thing is, like, there are lots of movies that are shot on sound stages and you don't even necessarily realize, but that was very sound stagey. Right. Maybe it was like a pickup or something. Sure. I don't know, but that really cracked me up. I kind of apparently got sucked into the movie during the Chris drama because my note just says I didn't write anything during the Chris drama because like Edward James almost like sees them like getting close. They get caught smooching. He basically is like, I forbid you from seeing him. I'm like, motherfucker, they're on a bus together. Eventually, but he's like, no, get off the bus. You're not allowed on. He just is like, he's just doing some great angry acting. And she's like, I love him. And she cries with her mom, and it's just like a lot of drama. It begins this whole like subsection of her like sneaking off to see him occasionally, and they're hanging out. And they're just not sure what to do. There's a really interesting moment where they're at like a fair and there's like this bungee jumping guy who is like letting people bungee jump at a fair, which couldn't fucking pay me enough money to bungee jump in a random carnival.
Fair one. No, not a street carnival. No.
I really like this actor that plays the bungee guy because you could tell acting is hard.
Say what you gotta say.
But he has one line. He goes, "It's okay. You just have to let go." And he delivers it so dramatically because because it's metaphorical. They're doing a metaphorical thing here where she doesn't know what to do about the Chris situation, so she bungee jumps and it's supposed to be like, you're free, you can do what you want. But like this actor maybe just knew, like it's like you need it to be so much more casual than that for him just be like, it's okay, you just need to let go. Instead he's like, it's okay, you just need to let go. And I was like, bro,
that was really good.
But that's another scene I recommend people go back and watch because that poor little under 5 guy, he really thought it was his moment.
It's great for his reel.
I mean, it might be a trailer moment. I don't know. But she bungee jumps, and I'm again couldn't pay me enough. But eventually, she's like, tells Chris she wants to get eloped. I don't think that's how that goes. She wants to elope. And apparently this came from the director/writer talking to Chris Perez. Again, it's like, I'm curious what's real and what's not. Because basically Chris was like, actually, she's the one that wanted to elope. But this is like posthumously. Is that a word? So posthumously. But this is Chris's word, and there ain't nobody else to argue with him. So it's like, is this really what happened? Who knows?
We'll never know.
As far as I could tell, the Chris guy in real life seems to be a nice enough guy. Obviously, pretty devastated by what happened, as anyone well and should be. But so she's the one that's like, and they have a good. Chris wins me over a little bit in this scene to where he's like, I don't want to marry you because I know you want your family there at your wedding. Like, that's important to you. He's like, and I want you, like, I know how important it is to you.
Such a good partner in that.
Which is like, you're like, okay, I like that. But she's like, it's never going to happen though. So she's like, the only way we can make them see things is if we do this. And he eventually is like, it's really what you want. But I did appreciate him. His reasoning felt good to me, where I was just like, oh, that's a good reason to like push back against this. Like knowing she's trying to push it too hard and knowing like maybe in the retroactively she would be upset that she didn't get to have her family there because it's her entire life is her family. But they do it. And this is another thing to where I was having a real confusion moment where they're driving back from Vegas after having gotten married, and he's going on. He's like, look, you know, if they break up the band, I can get gig work. I can make like $400 a week. Like, and I was sitting there being like, isn't she like fucking super famous at this point and making tons of money as a singer?
Yeah.
But he's talking about how he's going to support her. And I was like, I don't know how you feel about this. Cause like the gut punch comes from while they're having this conversation on the radio, they're like, in other news, Selena just got married. That's fun. And it's like, so she's famous enough that somebody went on the radio and was like, Selena got married in Vegas. Mm-hmm. That's the level of fame she's at.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, I could support us with my guitar gigs.
Yeah.
So I was like, is he just being a really good dude by saying like, no matter what, I could support us? Yeah. Or am I supposed to believe that we can't just bank on Selena being Selena? I was a little confused by that. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was just that one thing where like he's reassuring her that he has her no matter what. Like, yeah. I think it was a way for us to definitely see Chris in another light. But obviously Selena is rich. She's not worried about it. But like she even says, that's my macho man talking. I think it's that, oh, okay, so we are in this together. You do got me. Like we did do the right thing. I don't think that was a, you know.
They have a reconciliation though. She comes home after getting married and her dad's like,
they wait a day.
They wait a day. Her dad's like, do you remember I took you to that beach? Which I did skip over that scene where her mom like teaches her how to dance, which is really cute. Washing machine, do the washing machine. And I was like, oh. Mom's got it. But
wait, you skipped over that scene when she was doing the washing machine?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, no, I didn't personally skip over it. I'm saying in my recount now, I skipped over it, which I shouldn't have. Mom's washing machine is on point. But he's like, I went to that beach and I cried like a baby. I was like, Jesus, dude. But the scene's really nice in the sense that he is like letting his walls down a little bit. He's like, so you're my little girl. I can't reconcile with that. And they like cry and like hold each other.
I cry every time because there's nothing like a parent's love, like, and having to quote unquote give your kid away, like especially one who you like. They are so insular and like they travel every day, and it's like now like another man like had like. How am I gonna know he's gonna protect? Like it's such a beautiful moment to me, and like Edward James Olmos. Oh my God, he's just incredible. Like I legit cry every time I see this.
I do like I like that the movie lets him have those kind of rough edges of like a father of that era would have, but still there is softness underneath, and you get glimpses of it. And so they just do a really good job with this character. They welcome Chris into the home. They're like, "You're our new brother," and she's like, "I love you." And he's like, "You got your guitar? I hate to miss a concert." Just being the gruff. Like,
he had to.
Instead of like having a touchy feely moment, it's like you're back in the band, Chris, and that's how you know I accept you.
Right? Yes.
You're like, okay, whatever. But a lot of montagey stuff. They managed to slide Yolanda in at this point. Who, if anybody knows about the real story, as soon as you see her, your hackles go up.
Blood starts boiling, hands start sweating.
She's helping with the boutique and the fan club, and you know things seem to be going well. I definitely don't envy the filmmakers in terms of how it must have like been hard to figure out how you wanted to handle the Yolanda stuff.
Sure,
because it's like you don't want every shot of her to just be sinister and like have like ominous music underneath it. You can't just be that obvious about it. But they do a lot of like lingering shots on her, be like, I can handle the inventory. You go do this, Selena.
Things. Even when they're getting the pedicures and she's like, what's that? Like asking what the things are. You're like, okay, why do you care so much?
But Selena's like blasé about it. She's doing a big fashion line. There's like a subplot where Yolanda squirrels away a bunch of money that they were putting together to buy Selena a gift. But I'm trying to think if there's any like big beats. Fashion show is cool in terms of like, if you look up the real fashion show, they really did like recreate some of the dresses and stuff. So cool. There was like a blurb I read where Suzette was like, thought they had stolen one of Selena's outfits for the movie, and they just like no wardrobe, just 1-to-1 recreated it that good. So cool. There's a fun like, again, it's a little 90s scene where they go dress shopping, and stuck up rich white lady who runs the shop is like, I don't think you want that dress. That dress is $800. And she's like, we'll try it on anyway. And then like later they swarm the shop because they find out Selena's is in there, and she's like, we don't want the dress. And the lady's like, oh, and I'm like, what a fun role to get cast in. Yes. Like what a dream role to just be a shitty white person in like one of these kind of movies. Yeah. Like I just think it'd be really fun to be a Karen in something. Like be in a music video and it's like you're the guy yelling at the band to like get off the lawn or something. It's just fun. Like I'm sure that lady had a good time. She's kind of recognizable. I'd be curious. Like I don't know. I just love those little roles in these movies. But yeah, fashion show. She's charming the media about her fashion show, joking with Chris. I really like all the stuff with Chris. He just keeps showing up and being supportive. Yeah. We don't get any bullshit subplot of him being jealous of her success. Yeah. He's just happy to be there, which is like what these kind of guys should be. Yeah. I've heard way too many horror stories about men marrying successful women and they just can't fucking handle it. But no, he's just like, I'm a fucking guitarist in a popular band. I get to hang out with my wife all the time. It's fucking rules. Yeah, what more do you need? Yeah. Like he said at the Grammys, he seems like so happy for her. I have a note here that just says, Yolanda really couldn't just chill on having a fucking cakewalk, awesome life. Because like that was one thing that was really, like, obviously what she did is horrible, but it's also like just the psychology of being like, you've wormed your way into this insane inner circle. Yeah. Like you don't have to do anything for the rest of your life. You can just exist and have Selena as like your best friend and just hang out and do fan club stuff and boutique stuff. And you just couldn't fucking be okay with that. You had to fucking push it. And I just don't understand. Like I've said on the show a million times, I'm like, I guess I just don't understand like what money does to people. Maybe because I've never had it. Yeah. And like maybe it just changes you. If I was presented with the option that I conceivably was like, yes, I could absolutely steal this $30,000 and nobody would ever notice. Maybe that's more of a temptation than I give it credit for. But also I'm just like, you get to hang out with Selena all the time and you just couldn't be like, oh, yeah, that's good enough.
Well, you're also not mentally ill. So
it's true.
There is stuff that we just won't understand, but they did allude to the fact that she had stolen money from a previous employer.
she's got a bad past.
Yeah.
Like, and I was kind of waiting for some sort of like jealousy thing to come into play too. They didn't really lean on that too much, but yeah, fucking Yolanda. Selena's performing and these like producer guys are like, we think she's ready for a crossover album. Yes. And Edward James almost gets to do like they're like, do you think she's ready? He's like, we've been ready. Kind of cool. There's this really great scene where she has pizza with him. Yes. And for some reason the cinematography in this scene was fucking hitting. Just the way the lighting was and the color, it's just really lush.
I think the cinematography all around, like even the transitions. From
it looks nice. And I like the choice sometimes to mix in some like more newsy type looking footage and stuff. But the pizza scene with the dad at the end was like, I was like, whoa. I literally was just like, whoa, this is like gorgeous for like out of nowhere for no reason. But this is like when he's just being really sincere. The thing that kind of sucks about the end of this movie is the last chunk of this movie is just a bunch of really schmaltzy, sincere scenes, knowing she's going to die. Because even having not watched the movie, I knew that she died. Yeah. But so like every scene is fucked up kind of because you're just like, the dad's like, I'm just so proud of you. And this is when he's like, every barrier I thought was in front of you, you just walked through like it was nothing. And again, I really love the choice to not have him. There's like no jealousy about it. There's no like bitterness. He's just genuinely proud of her. And so that hits. And then she's talking with Chris. And actually I did have a joke here where, cause she's talking about, having a farm and all these animals. Yeah. And I literally in my head before she said it, I was like, she's going to make some kind of pun about how we should have some little animals of our own, about how she wants to have kids. Yeah. And then she said it and I was like, I knew she was going to say it and I still hated it. Like, I was just like, not that they wanted to have kids, but the way just saying, I was thinking about having some little animals of our own. I was like,
Yeah. Well, I
No.
do think that was a throwback to the beginning.
Sure,
When she
sure.
had the chicken.
The
Well, how
chicken.
else do you do it? I don't know how else you do it.
I just there's a J-Lo undefeated queen of having really rough lines in movies. She's infamously in one of the worst movies of all time, Geely.
Oh, I still haven't seen that movie.
She
Oh God.
there's a scene where she like kind of spreads her legs at Ben Affleck a little bit, and she's like, I think it's turkey time, and he's like, what? And she just goes, gobble gobble.
Oh.
it's,
God.
it's rough. But yeah.
J-Lo.
What that's another thing I wanted to just the J-Lo of it all is very
Yeah.
funny to me in this movie. There's been a one of my not favorites, that's an exaggeration, but there's a subcategory of Ben Affleck videos that you can find. Ben Affleck, incredibly fluent in Spanish. And if you look up interviews with him, like doing Spanish interviews, he's incredibly charming. And people have sort of semi-joked that he might be better at Spanish than J-Lo. Because he is like insanely fluent, and people have joked because like people are hard on Ben Affleck. I actually like Ben Affleck, and I think he's a good actor. But they're like, man, he really has a personality when he speaks Spanish. Why doesn't he like this in English? But it's worth looking up him speaking Spanish because it's really funny. But yeah, so we're like really getting into it of like, it's like things are going well with dad. He's proud of her. Oh, she's thinking about having kids, and she tells her mom like, we're thinking about having children. And the mom's like, I'm gonna have grandkids, and you're just like, I'm sitting here knowing where this is going, just being like, fuck, man, really?
I think that's what you're supposed to feel.
we're just really
things are just starting to feel really good.
Just really grinding it in. They catch Yolanda like doing shady finance stuff. She protests, and Selena's really heartbroken, which that's another, like, you know, if there's any ding against Selena, her naivete is obviously one of her maybe strong points, but also weak points. And she's like so genuinely hurt that anyone in her circle could have taken advantage of her like that. And
that goes to speak about the trust that they've built throughout their
like she never could even imagine someone being capable of that, which is just such a shame that someone would do that to her. There's a really great scene where she like records the dreaming of you things really nice.
Oh, that's an infamous scene because of the lips. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like but in all fairness,
there's Selena, something going on with her lips.
Yeah. She was the matte red lipstick and the extra. That's a whole thing. There's a bunch of TikTok videos on it. I love it.
There's a really the weird white producer guy is like, it's a hit. I always knew it would be. And you're like, okay, sure, dude. But I really love the way her brother starts dressing towards the end of this movie.
Oh yeah,
very funny. Just using the wardrobe to sort of show that they're being successful by having him just like have fucking chains and rings and stuff, and like the slicked back hair. But it's very cool that, you know, the brother and the sister were like part of the band the whole time, and the brother like wrote her music and stuff, and like really, I mean, what a dream.
I don't know if he gets enough credit for like his songs are so good.
For sure. I mean, like they have that scene, I kind of skipped over it, but you see them kind of come up with Como La Flor. And he's like onto something, and you're like, oh man, this guy's like, he's got it. And like it's just cool like that in real life her brother just like wrote songs, and then they were successful. Like, what a dream. Speaking of dreams, she has this dream where she's like in this white dress and she's like singing in this crowd, and this single white rose hits the stage. I kind of appreciate this movie in terms of like how they end up handling the death. Instead of making, there's a lot of ways you could have gone about it. Like, you could have like filmed it, and like it's pretty well known like what happened. Instead, they just choose to kind of cut to news footage, kind of some heavy-handed newscaster position, where he's just like, "Hey, Selena, blah, 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 blah." Some tough shit of, you know, watching the family find out and stuff like that. And you know, it's a very strange thing, like with Selena. Like I read up a little bit on like the real thing, and it's, you know, Yolanda in real life, she was being squirrely with the finances, but Selena just was seemed to maybe be trying to really give her the benefit of the doubt. And like the last 24 hours is like a really weird roller coaster of like, she went to her and then Yolanda said she'd been assaulted. So Selena like took her to the hospital and was like, stayed with her. And then I went back to the hotel and Selena like, it was like, come on, like give me the financial records. Like Yolanda, I guess, shot her. And you know, so unfortunately, it's one of those things too, where it's just like a freak. The bullet just hit the right spot. And like any other angle, we maybe still have like one of the greatest pop stars in the world with us. Instead, just it clipped an artery and just boom, bang. And then Yolanda, shout out to Yolanda, denied parole.
I was about to say, shout out to Yolanda.
She's still serving time. We all my homies hate Yolanda.
All my homies hate Yolanda.
I mean, half the Letterboxd reviews are literally just like "fuck Yolanda," which it is like
legit. She has pinatas in L.A.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because like this is like one like this movie really does hammer home the tragedy of like, it's obviously tragic when anybody loses their life. But it's just there's an extra layer of being like robbed of just someone who had so much to give to the world.
And I love the fact that they didn't give Yolanda that much screen time. Like she was there for a blip of time, and that's all we need to know about her.
And super like, and they do a good job of like how they choose to wrap up the movie. You know, they blip the news stuff, and then you get to see like a bunch of like real footage of Selena and like some fused with like some concert stuff. A little heavy for my taste of the empty stage shots towards the end. I was like, yeah, man, I got it. But it is like, it's tough because it's just like, I hate I was a big Philip Seymour Hoffman fan. I'm still really upset that he died. I was a big Anton Yelchin fan, really upset that he died. Heath Ledger, like in Selena, it's like she would be, I think, 55 today. It's like she would probably still just be doing shit. Like, and it's just such a shame because it's like, imagine how many interesting songs we could have, like, in so much, like they're just adding so much to the world. I think that's like what's really rough about when things like this happen, is like, it's sad when anyone dies, but when there's someone who's such a bright star with so much to like give, it's like, damn, it really is so fucked up to be robbed of that. And then in her case, is just, there's an extra layer of fascinating and like the circumstances of it being so strange. Like, and I'm sure that there's a morbid fascination with her, which is why maybe all this stuff got like so fucking fast tracked. But truly, I was like, when I started being like, wait, she died in 95 and this movie came out in 97, I was like, damn. So I was glad to read that like it wasn't completely shady why this movie even came to exist. But it's funny because it's like, thinking about how old she'd be, but like her and J-Lo would be like contemporaries. I don't think J-Lo would exist without her. Genuinely. Well, and obviously this was one of J-Lo's first huge big blow up.
I think
moments.
It was her first.
So
she's a fly girl, but beyond that, like no movie credits, and she was literally the perfect person to play her.
Yeah, she did do a really good job in this movie. I don't necessarily tend to think of J-Lo as like a tremendous actor. But she did a really good job for what she needed to do in this film. I think it probably testament to the director in terms of like just getting the performances he needed out of people. And then probably some good leadership from Edward James Olmos in terms of like, there's some really young cast in this movie. Even the little girl, I know they did like a nationwide search or whatever, but still, child acting's fucking hard, man. And they tend to stick out like sore thumbs. So the fact that this little girl was so charming and like,
even the brother and sister, that could have
for sure,
different ways too.
No, they everyone was doing a really good job. And usually if you watch a movie and everyone's doing a good job, you got to give a little golf clap to the director, because that's probably why. Because the amount of times where I've had friends be like confused, like, why is he good in this movie and why is he bad in this movie? I'm like, they were poorly directed and it was shittily edited. I was like, it's always comes down to that. It's like, it's like the script, the directing, and the editing. I was like, you can make someone look like such an asshole, like in the editing room. Like I have a short film, like no, I'm not even gonna be specific about it because I'm not trying to throw any shade. But I have a short film, and I remember a lot of people were like, wow, this person did such a good job in the movie. And I flashed back to when I was shooting, and they didn't know their lines. They were like 3 hours late to set. They completely set us back. And in the editing room, every single scene was like me trying to find the one clean line that I was able to get.
Yeah.
But I was able to stitch it together, and they are so naturally charming, which is why I wanted to work with them so badly. And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, they're so good in this. And I'm like, they were a huge pain in my ass. And they did not know their lines at the time. And then they're a busy person. That's another thing that's tough about working in the indie world is people have lives. And like literally, I'm not even mad because like the reason they were late is they had kid stuff they were dealing with. But it was just like, you can make someone look dumb in an edit. You know,
totally.
I did a movie for the show, What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh yeah.
And the mom in that, she's just someone they found, not a trained actor or anything.
Nice.
And people were really like raving about how great she is in the movie. But I watched that movie with like a critical eye, and I can tell the editing job that they're doing to work around her limitations. Sure. And I was like, there's a world where you could have been like, God, she was horrible. Yeah. But they like knew what they needed to do. So that's a long-winded way of saying like, I think JLo does a good job in this movie. Sure. I think that the movie's doing her a lot of favors.
Yeah. And I think it does help that she is a dancer. I will say is a dancer.
She does good with the dances.
That she's a performer, I'll say.
Yeah.
Because in all of the research that she had to do in order to become like the Selena version of it, was incredible.
I kind of sped through a lot of stuff, but is there anything I skipped over in the movie where you're like, oh, I really wanted to talk about this? And then sort of on top of that, do you have any sort of like final thoughts about the film?
I don't think that I think it was, you went chronologically, so you did a great job. Great job. And was this your first time watching it?
Yep.
Oh, that's wild.
Yep. First time watching it last night.
Cool.
I think it's technically been less than 12, a little over 12 hours since I finished it.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Yeah, no, that is true.
Yeah.
So I watched it at like 4 a.m. last night. It's just straight up on YouTube, which is nice.
Yes. That is very nice.
Probably should have led with that. Probably should have also told people at the top of the show that we were going to spoil the fuck out of the movie. Oh. But, you know, this is a rare biopic episode where it's like, well, there's no spoilers. We all know.
Correct.
We all know what happened.
Correct. Yeah.
Like my thoughts and prayers out to the person that watches this movie not knowing where the movie's going. That's got to be a pretty devastating gut punch.
That's true. I don't see how they would not. But you know, you never know. No, I think this is probably one of the greatest biopics ever made. And I think they did a really good job balancing actual life in time jumps and actual people and all the things. So I'm just super impressed with how they did it on the time constraints that they had. But I also think that it was really good that they didn't have enough time or a lot of time because it made it super focused.
Sure.
So yeah, and I think everybody did a really good job. Yeah, I don't really have enough good things to say about it, you know.
Well, speaking of, I do ratings on the show. I've sort of locked myself into.
Yeah.
Guests are welcome to abstain, especially if it's one of their favorite movies of all time. Okay. We all probably know what the score is, but you're welcome to rate because sometimes I'll do movies for the show and people will be like, "I love this movie. I've watched it so many times." Sure. 8.2, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Your standards are insane, but you're welcome to rate it, but you don't have to." Okay. I do ratings out of 10.
Yeah, I'm so curious what yours is going to be.
This one's tough. I think that it's pretty schmaltzy, and there are elements of it that's like, there are things in it that I'm like, I would have rather they focus on this than this, but it's also like, what the fuck are you supposed to do when you're trying to cover 23 years of someone's life? Yeah. And you're also lumping in dealing with very much trying to tell Abraham's story as well. Yeah. Like, and you got 2 hours to do it. It's hard. Yeah. You really have to. There's been like sort of a bubbling up, I feel like, of biopics where they just pick a really specific piece of time to focus on. Yeah. This movie tries to have it all. I think it maybe suffers a little bit for it, but it is also just very, you know, after they finished the movie, I found myself, I looked up some of Selena's music videos and I was listening to it, and she's so genuinely talented and the story's so tragic. And I think that the movie, real testament to the film, I didn't feel like it was like shitty or cynical or anything like that, which is huge for something like this, where it's like, I just don't want to watch a movie that's like taking advantage of like someone's death to like draw eyeballs to it. Yeah. Because there's definitely like subgenre of that. Like there was a movie that came out a few years ago that was like The Murder of Sharon Tate or something like that. And I was like, fuck off. Like fucking awful, man. It's like, what if it was Sharon Tate, but a horror movie? Oh, yeah. I'm like, cool, man. Great. But because I just don't think that's not coming from an earnest place. Yeah. This feels like, it's like we wanted to tell Selena story. She was like on a meteoric rise and it was cut short tragically, and people should know.
Yeah,
like
she was.
I think it's well done. I think everyone's doing a good job in this movie. I think, you know, Edward James almost steals the show for my money. Like he is running circles a little bit around everybody. Sure. He's clearly like the most talented actor in this movie. Yeah. Apparently was originally considered to direct the film.
Ooh, interesting.
Ended up just being like, I guess I'm the dad.
Yeah.
But you know, I had a good time with it. But the ceiling for movies like this for me personally is always going to be kind of capped at a certain point.
Okay.
Because it's never gonna, unless it's doing something really experimental or weird, I'm never gonna be like, this is my new favorite movie, 10 out of 10. But I think I'm comfortable at like a 7.
Oh, interesting.
For this one.
That's higher than I thought it was gonna be.
No, like I know I was being a little snarky about certain points, but it's a perfectly pleasant movie. Nice. And I think that while I would have loved to maybe have a little bit more of a handle on like how popular she really was, I think that they do a good job of like flowing pieces of her life together to give you like a good picture of what things were. And I don't think we hang on anything for too long. We get bogged down a little bit with like the Chris stuff, but that's an important aspect of her life. And even that didn't feel too dragged out. And I think they did a good job portraying like the complexity of the characters, which could be so easily lost in a film like this, where you're just trying to like get through the beats of the person's life. Like Chris felt complex to me. Selena felt complex to me. Like obviously, AB, and Suzette are taking kind of a back seat, but you still get a vibe for what their deals are. Yes. Like, and you know, and we get a little bit of drama, but we get like some niceness. Like I'm so cynical that the times in the movie where I was starting to kind of glaze over a little bit are almost like the nice montages where it's just like, here's a sequence where everything's going really well. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I know people really vibe with that kind of stuff. Sure. Like I could, like there was a Letterboxd review I read that I thought was really funny. It was like, I didn't realize till now I'd never seen the ending of the movie. My family used to turn it off before the last 15 minutes happened. I was like, fair enough.
Hilarious.
This is kind of a weird movie in the sense that it is kind of a feel good movie, but it has such a tragic ending. Sure. It's like, I don't know. There's that weird caveat to where it's like, is this a movie you just throw on to feel good?
Yeah.
But I think they do a good job tonally of being like, yeah, that shit happened, and it's sad, but they even bookend the film, I think, in a way where you can still walk out feeling not too down in the dumps about it, even though it is tragic. So yeah, I think it's just really well made, really well done. But it also just like the ceiling for something like this is never going to be that high. Like maybe it would be different if it was like an artist who I just was like, I can't get enough of their music. And every single scene is just me being like, fuck yeah, this song. But this is a lot of songs I'd never heard before. Like if it was like,
it's very niche.
I don't know, like a movie about the lead singer from the Cranberries or something, maybe I would be like going nuts.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, this kind of transitions a little bit into recommendations. But I didn't bother seeing the Michael movie.
I have not seen it.
Because like I didn't grow up on Michael Jackson's music, and all the reviews I've seen for it are basically like, it's a fucking 2-hour clip show of Michael Jackson songs. And there are some people who are like, this is the greatest movie ever made because they fucking love Michael Jackson songs, as they should. Michael Jackson songs are good. But I also am like, that's not really what I'm looking for in a movie. And I was thinking about what people said about that movie a little bit while I was watching this movie. But this movie feels a little more like character grounded and stuff. Whereas like a lot of the critiques I've heard about the Michael movie are just that it's like Michael Jackson is an ethereal, untouchable being who can do no wrong. And I was like, well, there's some people that said he's did some real wrong stuff. And it's been weird watching that get kind of swept under the rug again. And I get it. He was formative for a lot of people. is impeccably incredible. One of the most talented people to ever moonwalk across the planet.
Yeah.
But in terms of biopics that I really dig on, one that does kind of break the mold for me a little bit is Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash biopic. I fucking love that movie. And sort of weirdly hand in hand, the parody of it, Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story. I fucking love that movie. Okay. It's John C. Reilly. He's so fucking funny in it. A lot of my friends, it's kind of a movie that we talk about a lot, where it's like, you want no part of this, Dewey? He's like, what is it? He's like, we're smoking reefer. He's like, oh, I don't want to overdose on it. You can't overdose on it. Well, I don't need an expensive drug habit. It's the cheapest drug there is. You don't want any part of this. I think I do. But yeah, it's just it's a movie that kind of flopped when it first came out, but it's really become like a cult classic in terms of just how funny it is.
Yeah.
And it's mostly parodying Walk the Line, but then it kind of gets into some of the other stuff. I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of like music biopics though, and I've missed a lot of the recent ones. I didn't watch the fucking Bob Dylan one. I didn't watch the Bruce Springsteen one. I don't know. Is there anything like a lot of times the first time guests I also highly recommend, like if there's just movies you love that you think more people should see, feel free to shout those out. They don't necessarily have to fold perfectly into like being related to this film. I will say this is a dumb one, but because she's barely in the movie, but I actually do have a really big a soft spot for Jersey Girl. J-Lo's only in the movie for like 10 minutes at the beginning, but it's a Kevin Smith movie.
Okay.
One of the many movies J-Lo did with Ben Affleck. And I have a soft spot for the movie and I like it. That's probably like, sadly, one of my go-to J-Lo movies.
That's hilarious.
Even though she's barely in it.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, I think like Maestro, if we're doing like biopic, like Maestro did a pretty good job. Phenomenal job. A movie like, again, like Girl Interrupted is a biopic based on a book. That was really good.
Oh, yeah. And you mentioned Girl Interrupted earlier. I did that for the show. And that was an incredible film. Also, I think a very underrated director, James Mangold. And I'm really bowled over by how he handled the material in that movie. Because that's tough, man.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And there were so many moving parts and types of characters. That was a really hard one, but a really good one. Trying to think of other biopics that I really enjoyed. Oh, I mean, the Jackson 5 movie on HBO.
Oh, you know what? There is a musical biopic. I can't believe it. I've shouted it out a million times on the show, but Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking love Straight Outta Compton. It's a great movie.
Incredible.
Rolling down the street in my 6'4". That's a good fucking movie.
So good.
I forgot. I will shout out to J-Lo. I did see Hustlers when it came out, and that was a good movie. And she does a great job in that film.
Yeah,
that's a real testament to. Speaking of people that have aged remarkably.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't get. She's great. I'll just leave it at that. I was gonna go down a whole different, but it's fine. She's great.
Is there anything you'd like to plug?
I mean, I feel like I've plugged it till the cows come home. However, I am currently producing, and I wrote a film about my uncle who is in the NFL. Speaking of biopics, he was in a part of the 1972-73 Dolphins teams that won the back-to-back Super Bowls under Don Shula. He was also the first and only black athlete to be signed to the NFL straight out of high school. And he did all of that without knowing how to read or write. He's from Albany, New York, like my whole family is. And I'm really excited about it. We're in the development stages of it, late development stages of it, right before the funding. And yeah, then it's off to the races.
What's the vibe? Are you directing, starring?
Not directing. I would like to star in it before I age out of it. But if not, I wrote it so that I could play either the older brother or another ancillary character. But yeah, I wrote it because I have a strong, obviously, attachment to the family, and the family trusts me with the story, and I don't want it to turn into something that it's not about. There have been conversations about certain angles it could go in to protect the integrity of the film and his legacy. Like, I think it's best kept, with somebody a little more trustworthy than somebody who's doing something for capital gain. But I am producing it along with a couple of other people. And yeah, it's a really exciting,
Yeah, hell yeah.
yeah, thing that we're doing. But yeah,
Where can people find you?
people can find me on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook. It's all Jamel M. King.
Jamel M. King.
Yes, and on YouTube as well as Jamel M. King.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is are any of your films out and to see? Like, I can't remember if different
Like the
kind
ones
of
that
war is out. Or...
So here's the thing with a different kind of war. Because so speaking of high standards that we have for ourselves, some of the sound in it, especially the outside stuff, isn't as crisp as I want it to be. So I think I might have to whittle some of it down. Currently, it's about 15 minutes, so I might have to shave off about 5 minutes of it, which is a lot. And I know I'm going to make some people mad, mainly some of the actors in it. But it has nothing to do with the performances. It has nothing to do with my feelings on anybody. It's literally just a matter of making it watchable without any sort of distraction, because sound can make or break.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of where I am with it.
No, yeah. I mean, people should definitely check you out. Like, there's like so many projects you've been a part of that people can see.
Yeah.
You're on tons of TV shows.
Yeah, All American on Netflix. Zatima on BET Plus with Tyler Perry. We have a bunch of Lifetime movies. I'm in like 11 of those. A bunch of commercials.
Yeah, there was definitely one where it's like you were here in Fort Wayne for I feel like less than a year.
Yeah.
And you were back in LA, but now I followed you on stuff. And then there was like some show you were on where your character seemed to be like some kind of fitness guy who this woman was like really thirsting over.
Yes.
And I was like, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Tyler Perry's Zatima. That was a whole wild time. Like the filming of that, because I had to be in LA to film All American, and then that was around the holidays. So then I had to come to Fort Wayne to spend time with family for Christmas, and then I had to go to Atlanta to film. I think it was like on the 2nd of January to Atlanta, then back to Fort Wayne, then to LA to film the rest of one episode of All American, and that was just a very tricky time for me, but it was fun. We made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been so cool having you on the show.
It's been great.
I'm glad we can make this happen for your brief stint back in town.
Yes.
I mean, I can't thank you enough for giving me so much of your time.
Oh God, thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, no, this has been great. I mean, I'm glad we ended up landing on Selena. I think that was a really fun pick, even though I completely botched the original movie we were supposed to do.
So we were supposed to do Some Like It Hot, but he did it a week prior. No,
no,
so many
you should. I wish I had like a camera on me when I like for my face of like scrolling up in our Instagram messages, because I was like, oh, is it okay? We're gonna record Saturday, and I was like, what movie did we say we were doing? Scroll, Some Like It Hot, and I just was like, because I had just hilarious. Like a week before, a friend of the show, Sammy, we had done Some Like It Hot, and it was funny because I think it was between that and like The Searchers, and I was like, you know what, I really want to do a Marilyn Monroe movie. I feel like it was like maybe incepted into my brain that we were going to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I was so primed to do it.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't settled on like a date, so my brain's so Swiss cheese these days that if I don't fucking write it down, it doesn't exist to me. And so when I saw that, I was like, I don't think I've ever done that to somebody before.
Hilarious.
Where I let somebody else scoop them.
It's all good. There's so many movies, and we can talk about. It's fine. It was all good.
No, I appreciate it. But I think this worked out. I think this was a really good movie to cover.
Yeah,
and I was very pleasantly because I had thought that I had like seen it, and I definitely have never seen this movie before.
Oh, that's cool.
Because like one of the Letterboxd reviews was like, you ever took a Spanish class in high school? You've seen this one. But I was like, actually, weirdly, this one didn't get played.
Oh, really?
I was just talking to my friends online recently, where I was like, you know, and my Spanish teacher did play a shit ton of dumb shit. Like we literally watched multiple episodes of a telenovela called Dame Chocolate. But no, never got Selena. But we did watch the one where Javier Bardem is a paraplegic that wants to commit suicide. Oh. Watched that in high school.
Well, go figure. I'm gonna have to see that. I'm gonna have to watch that.
It's a pretty interesting movie too, because he's like paralyzed, so he can't commit suicide himself. Oh. So he needs someone to help him do it, but he doesn't want them to go to prison, and so it's a very interesting movie.
Oh, cool.
Also, Javier Bardem, obviously incredible, watchable, but this has been awesome. We gotta go.
Okay.
As I unfortunately always say at the end of every episode, I'll catch you all on the flip flop later.
See ya.
Bye.